Oh, there we go. A little technical difficulties, but these boys from Reboot Repair come and save the day again, I think.
Cam and Dylan, thank you. You guys are saviors.
So nice to have your own personal Jesus.
Oh, my goodness. Yes, they are.
I'm on. I said, this thing's crashing. I don't know what's going on.
And they were both here within like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So
It's great. It's great. These guys treat us way too well.
yeah.
Oh, we got a full table tonight, guys.
Absolutely. So we don't have to introduce Halser anymore, but our guest in the middle, returning guest, Chris Chessel.
Yeah.
The only question is, if Chess is here, who's fact checking?
That's right.
We count on Chess.
Who's on the live chat
Who's on the
answering
live
our
chat?
questions? When we
There
go,
might be
Chester, you
somebody
got
there. Somebody there with the same last name.
I hope. Yeah, Rhett, you're on the spot, brother.
Yeah. Yeah. Text us in for fact checking, Rhett. So
Rhett's all giddy about this weekend. Yeah. He's going to be.
with all the additions to the Lincolns? Or?
Yeah, well, this just Stratford and St. Mary's game. It's got to eat. Jeff, how you doing?
Fine.
Okay.
Man, a few words.
He looks a bit out of sorts over there.
Do I?
Yeah, you do. You
Okay.
just look a bit old.
Well, as long as we're being honest.
Reshovel yourself. Reshovel yourself.
It's like a squirrel went by and Jeff
I
went,
sat down and we're on.
yeah, we're go.
So I just wanted to give an official shout out to our great friends at Reboot Repair, Stratford's best computer support and services, personalized IT solutions, hardware, software repairs, on-site business, home and business services. I don't think you can truly count on them to do what they just did with us and be down here in 5 minutes. But if you give them a call or pop into the bricks and mortar at 155 Erie Street, ladies and gentlemen, these two just, they're
The rock stars.
let's just say personal Jesus, quote Holly, but we're sitting here at quarter after and we usually are ready to go by 5:30 and Les is like, this thing just isn't waking up. We'll be there, so I guess that's an attribute to how they do business, and I think it carries on through the professional side of what they do. So needless to say, shout out Cam and Dylan, and thank you so much for your consistency and dedication to this podcast that we broadcast every week from this great facility that you have at your bricks and mortar. So as you were.
And Dylan keeps throwing out the ideas. He wants to do this and that. And hey, as long as you're excited about it, because I got no idea what you're saying.
Well, we've got so much coming down the pipe, and it's stuff that we can reveal and stuff that we can't reveal. But even our advertising board, they came up with great ideas for that, and we've had new advertisers saying, "Man, you guys, seem to be resonating with the community. How do we get involved?" So it's humbling, right? That a little podcast with you and Jeff that is kind of morphed into this, where the three of us kind of stumbled in here, and now we've got a whole team to say what we feel.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it's encouraging to hear the momentum that we have, because we've also, we've done, for instance, the equipment drive that we had that was a huge success. Thank you to the local community for that. But we have so many ideas, and I think the biggest thing that has to happen is we have to understand where we're at, and to propel that forward and to progress forward and understand that we're going to be able to obtain and achieve these campaigns that we want to do. It's growing, and we look at the numbers that we have, and it's all thanks to you, the listener.
Absolutely.
So,
we wouldn't be here without people listening to
and
us.
I think we added 35 followers this week, just on our social media, and that it's humbling.
It's so cool. Like you guys, Les and Jeff started this whole thing. They're driving the bus. And if I could refer back to a lost art, the three of us were just bumper hopping. we're just catching the back bumper of the bus and riding it along through the snow.
I refer to that as the good old days.
Those are the good old days. Nobody does that anymore.
Just
on
the
the
two of
5
us.
Devon.
No.
Right? Just
Yeah.
You'd hide behind a snowbank, and then
Yeah.
you'd hop out, and they'd have no idea that
And
six
when you
of
think
us
back
are on
about
the
it, it's
back.
like, I mean, the driver knew. He had to know that we were there.
I am just
I don't know.
surprised more of us didn't get run over by something.
Nobody got killed doing it. It's just
I
one of
wouldn't do
those,
it now
you know,
because they actually try and
I don't-
maintain the roads now. So
I don't think Ernie actually knew that we were all on the back of
Oh,
the
you'd be
five.
surprised.
I just can't imagine.
Get
it's-
home from work. Yeah, Chris, your buddies are on the back of the bus. I says to myself,
Why
I
is-
says, let them have some
Right?
fun.
Why is the back of the bus dragging down 4 inches from the front of the bus?
Going down Devon Street like a chain. Yeah, good time.
we used to always be on the Fort McCarthy and going around the corner, and Buddy goes, "Oh, get off, let go, just let go."
And then there was that fateful time where you had to go home with one mitt because the one froze.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And it driving away, and you go, there goes my mitt.
yeah.
And so you're there the next day thinking, oh, my mitt's still stuck to the bumper. I got shit from my mom.
Life in Stratford.
Love it, love it. Oh man, so
I got so much going on.
We got
This-
to start off
Better
with
get at her.
the Middleton brothers.
Yes,
like
that
that
was
is
huge.
such a good feel good story. Last week you had Keaton called up playing with the Avalanche and
Called
and
up after he re-signed
Yeah,
right
with the club, which
Two
is
year-
incredible.
two-year
2-year
contract.
extension.
Second year is one way.
yep.
And Jacob was just getting back from a busted hand, and he ended up having, I don't think it was in that game, but he had a goal and assist his first game back.
Yes, he did.
With his busted hand, and just a
Keaton-
great story.
Keaton Middleton is a monster.
Oh my God.
Like Jake's a big kid, but standing beside his brother, he gets dwarfed a little.
I was
He looks
looking
like
at the
tiny.
picture on the Beacon, on the front page of the Beacon Herald. And for those of you that still get that paperback,
Yeah,
They
what
still
is
have that paper.
and I'm looking at it and going, holy moly, like, and you're right, Halser, like, you know, Jacob is a big guy and Keaton dwarfs him. And so it was just interesting.
Keaton 6'3", 215, 220,
Jake.
Jake is 6'3", 215, 220, and Keaton is 6'5", 250.
Jeez.
6'5", 250.
That's like a
big NHL
offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a
And,
tight end. That's like Gronkowski sized.
And I know we definitely show our bias
You're right.
in these areas, in these parts for those players. But I'm going to tell you, there is such a there's an energy, especially around Jacob right now in the NHL. He's been on podcasts. His demand is there, you know. And for those of you who don't know his story, it's pretty special. And we're not going to go through it tonight, but. Even Keaton up and down and with the Cudas and drafted 101 overall by the Toronto Maple Leafs. Second chance with the Cudas. He joined his brother, and then he got traded off to the Avalanche's AHL team. He's had a very successful career.
Yeah.
And you know, he evolved more, and here he is with the big show, and just so proud.
Amazing.
So proud of those brothers.
Amazing. I got to know him a little bit working out at CrossFit.
Yeah.
And when Greg DeVries and I would be playing ping pong before the 8 a.m. workout, the two of them were like sweating their asses off, taking boxing lessons, like to learn how to protect themselves for
Putting in the
being
work.
on the ice. They were, and everyone's heard the story how on Spit and Chicklets. Jake told the story how their employer gave him the green light to go work out at 7 a.m.,
Masons.
show up to work a little bit late, and then lay brick all day in 30-degree heat. Like, those guys have deserved everything that they're getting. So shout out to those two guys.
Yep.
Kudos, man. Love to see
And
it.
great picture. We do have it on the our social media. We posted a picture that the game night that Colorado and Minnesota played wasn't the outcome that I think Jacob was looking for, but it was a bit of a shit show. But
Yeah. Yeah.
part of the ebbs and flows of the 82.
Exactly. Exactly. So what's going on with Jonathan Toews wanting to come back and play?
Well, isn't that a nice story? Wouldn't it be nice
Right?
to see him come back and even just play
Amazing.
a few games, and I don't know what he's got left in the tank, frankly. But
Like you know who he reminds me of is a Brian Trottier. Like after Trottier won 4 cups with the Islanders, and then the Penguins go, you know what? I think we could use you as our 3rd or 4th line center. Great room guy. Like that's what I think.
and you'll know
Taze
he'll be a
could-
good room guy,
right?
Captain Serious, they used to call him.
Exactly, but like even Taze at 60 or 70%, as if he couldn't help a team. He's won 3 cups.
Didn't I hear him talking to the Leafs?
Yes.
Ish.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a few teams that are interested in him. That
And
have been
hey, in the
inquiring.
regular season, if you get into a shootout, you know he's good.
Oh, remember him in the World Juniors?
Yes.
Wow. And you know, for those that don't know,
You can
like,
bet the American goalie remembers it.
What is it after a certain
After 5.
after 5 shots? Then you can take
He just
every shot from
Taves
there
just-
on
and
out.
yeah, how many did he do in a
I
row?
think
Was
he
it
had-
5?
I think so.
It was
It
crazy.
was 4 or 5 in a row.
It was
It
crazy.
was illegal, is what it was.
Right? 36 years old, 3 Stanley Cups. Yeah, like I think the Buds should be all over him and
Who would you take out?
Pacioretty.
Really?
I would. I would sit him. And you know, you've got a guy who has been there, has been in the Olympics, has scored goals for Canada's 2 golds in 2010 and 2014. Like I really think the Leafs should go after him. I really do. So,
They got any cap space for him?
well, that would have to be some maneuvering. They'd have to
Well,
unload
that-
somebody. But
so you're saying Pacioretty, like you get rid of Pacioretty?
I would try and trade.
But that's
him.
what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Like, so who, not who he replaces in your lineup, but who do you
Right.
get rid of?
They
to
would have
craft
to.
it?
They would have to do like a maneuver, like we'll talk about further in.
Like Tito Santana on Randy Savage?
exactly
Like a maneuver?
the Macho Man.
Oh,
Yeah,
Ooh,
it's.
Chico.
I would look to a team where they could unload salary, like what Kent Hughes has done, and we'll get to that. But yeah, I think if they could unload salary and find room, cap space for Taze, I don't know what he would want. Like he's only going to be doing a playoff.
well, he's
run,
probably
but-
just going to take the league minimum.
A
this
veteran
Yeah.
minimum, right?
So-
Which is what, $1 million or
Earnest
something
keep.
like that.
So do you take him or do you take O'Reilly, who's in the mix too with your Leafs?
You can't go to O'Reilly again, can you?
Yeah, I think you can.
You can in Toronto.
I think you can.
I
Would he
don't
want to
think
come, Chester?
He would never come. He would
He
never come back.
he showed how much he wanted to be in
Exactly.
Toronto the last
Yeah, He's
time,
not
right?
coming back, and I don't think it would be good for the room just because he left. And
Yeah.
yes, he brings a lot to the table,
For sure.
obviously, but I just don't think you can do that again.
Well, these guys know it's a business.
I get that, but
Yeah.
he
so-
could have stayed.
He could have stayed.
There was money there. They could have made it work, I think.
All reports say that he likes to have fun after the game is over without people bothering him, and
I
he
respect
didn't.
that.
He couldn't do that in Toronto. Like you're in the public eye 24/7 in
It's a
Toronto.
fishbowl, right?
It really is.
Yeah.
And he likes to just blend into the background. Now, would he do it for a playoff run and then come back to Nashville? I don't know.
Well, he's got a cup, so that kind of eliminates
Sure.
any type of
Yeah, hard to say what motivates him, frankly.
Yeah.
because isn't that the truth, Holly? Like,
Yeah.
I think that once you've won a cup, everything changes for you.
100.
Like, look at all sorts of examples
But-
in the league.
Could it be a fact that if he comes to Toronto and Lord help us, you win a cup in Toronto, that sort of gets you a different kind of status
Well, you got to
for a guy like that, right?
You put your name in the discussion about being a statue out front,
Yeah.
right? Like that. If he was able to elevate his game and put everyone on his back like Gilmore did in '92, like that would be iconic, for him to do that, being from the area,
To coin the old phrase, he'll never have to buy another drink in Toronto.
right?
So, and I'm just asking, what did Gilmore do in '92? Got them to the semifinal.
Got him to the semis, and
He was the heart and soul of that
He
team.
was.
He was.
He was
I was
definitely
That-
like your perception. I'm
That
just
goal he scored in Toronto
like
in the
I'm-
first round.
like
I
I'm
think
a,
it was.
oh my god,
Oh.
on Cujo, the
In
wraparound
double overtime.
In
Yeah.
double overtime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he everyone, and we've talked about it on previous podcasts, back in 92, it was everyone was like, where are you watching the game tonight? Like, it was that riveting that you
because
had to
it
watch
hadn't
it.
happened
Right,
in
in
so
so
long.
long.
since I think 78 when they went to the semis.
Right.
with Lange McDonald.
Yeah, and it
Against
was
Chico Rash.
But I mean, remember, like anybody, you don't need to be a Leaf fan. Anybody living around here knew it was dead
Right.
air in the 80s
Right.
under Harold and
Yep.
and all of the nonsense that went on there for years and years and years. And then all of a sudden, and this team was no hell in the regular season.
No.
They were facing a first place Red Wing team. Mm-hmm. Back when it was 1-4-2-3 in the divisions,
Yes.
right? So they were a fourth place team in their own division.
Yep.
And they took on a team and got absolutely dusted in the first two games. Remember, they got outscored about
Yes.
like 11-4
Yep.
or something
Yep.
like that.
Yeah.
And I remember watching Game 3 because again, I'm not a Leaf fan, but I always loved the atmosphere in Maple Leaf Gardens at playoff
Right.
time. It was nuts in there. They were like the people that were
Iconic.
real hockey fans,
Right.
And they had one of my favorite players at the time, which was Dave Andrechuk,
Okay.
and
The old Moose.
Yeah.
they won 2-1, and Andrechuk got both the goals. A combined distance of about 12 feet.
Yeah.
Phil Esposito specials for all you old fellas. And then all of a sudden, Gilmore just grabbed this team by the scruff of the neck and played out of his mind. And I'll never forget the famous quote from Pat Burns. I think it was after they beat Detroit and they were playing St. Louis, and he scored that overtime goal. And the press asked him, "Where's Gilmore? He wasn't at practice." And Burns said, "He's back on his planet resting."
See,
Sorry, go ahead.
it was just a wild time being a Leaf fan. So I was in high school still at the time, and I had Blake Stairs as a geography teacher. And anybody that knows Blake Stairs, he's a huge Leaf fan,
And maybe the funniest teacher I ever
Yeah,
had.
so he was my homeroom teacher. So
And scary.
we'd spend,
What's that?
He's scary at the same time.
Yeah, he was a big dude. Right?
we'd spend 95% of the class just talking about the game the night before. So there
Yeah.
wasn't a lot of geography going on at that time, but the buzz around everybody
crazy.
just
It was
nuts.
unreal. It was electric, and it was before the internet. It was before cell phones. Like, that was our entertainment.
I think
Right.
the interesting part of that season is Gilmore finished the season with 128 points and came in third
Yeah.
in the Hart Trophy.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Like, unbelievable.
Unreal. Did Gretzky win it that year, or who won it?
No,
No,
it
it
was,
It was Lemieux, wasn't it?
yeah, I think
Yeah,
it was
Mario
Lemieux.
Lemieux.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
we
and-
did run into a very
and-
talented Gretzky.
right. And
Yeah.
when I ask you about that, and when I ask you about Gilmore, believe me, I understand what it meant to the
Yeah.
the
To
organization.
the Leaf faithful.
Yeah, I mean, you're hanging. That's the last kind of glimpse of. And I'm not. I know it sounds hard. What I'm saying
Say
is,
it.
you hang on
Get
to
it
it
out.
because those are the days.
Yeah.
Those were the days, yeah.
Those
Yeah,
are the
they-
days when.
Well, and that add
you
to
felt-
that the fact that they were actually wresting attention away from a juggernaut Blue Jays team
Yeah.
that was at the time
Right.
winning back-to-back championships.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it was a ball town.
It was for a while it turned into a.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, because
Yeah.
Toronto did nothing,
Nothing.
absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And they are,
And
just taking away attention.
And the
from a
Jays had
team
just
that
been
was-
hanging around for the 80s, right? Like 84, 85, and then 89, and just sort of get this
87.
bull. Yeah, 87. Just get this steam rolling going. So it was a baseball town
Yeah.
because nothing was going on in Toronto because Harold
because
Ballard
Greg
was
Therrien
burying the
couldn't
team.
handle the
And the Sky Dome just opened in '89,
yeah.
Yeah.
and it
January
was
June 8th it opened.
It was actually transforming into a baseball town, but as soon as the Leafs started winning, boom, it was a Leaf
Who's
team.
the
Exactly.
first Blue Jay to hit a home run in the Dome? Do you remember?
First Blue Jay, because I think
First
Molitor
Blue
hit
Jay.
one.
Yeah, he did. First Blue Jay.
I don't know. I don't
First-
remember.
Chester,
First
are you
base.
all Chester's here?
First base.
John Oler.
Fred
Olerud.
McGriff.
Fred McGriff.
Fred McGriff.
Really?
Crime
Right.
dog.
Crime
dog. Yes.
He come over from San Diego.
Yep, in the biggest
Yeah.
in the trade
In
that turned it all
Alomar
around.
trade.
That brought
There's another
Well-
trivia for you. Name the 4 players in that trade.
that brought Joe Carter to town.
And Roberto
Yes.
Alomar.
Yes.
Joe Carter hits probably one of the biggest home runs in Jays franchise
In
history.
baseball.
Baseball
Touch 'em all,
history, yeah.
Joe. You'll never hit a
What a
bigger
call.
home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jerry
Well-
was it Jerry Hallward? No.
Tom Cheek.
Tom
Cheek,
Cheek.
Jerry
Yeah,
Howard.
Jerry was the
Tom
color.
Cheek, God bless him.
Yeah.
God, he was good.
One of the best.
Yeah.
Jerry Howarth, and the guys that do it now, they're good. But there's nothing better than driving home from wherever you're coming from or backyard and listening to Jerry Howarth.
Yeah.
And as soon as they score their first run and the Blue Jays are in flight.
Yes,
Just those little things.
Yeah.
And there she goes. There's
Yeah.
so
She
many
goes.
great, just make you smile, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
It's just such great memories of those
He
guys.
was of the same ilk of the classic guys from back in the day, the Dizzy Deans and the Vin Scullys and the Joe Bucks.
Harry
and-
Carey.
Sorry,
Right.
Jack Buck? Joe Buck.
Joe
Joe
Buck.
Buck.
Joe Buck.
I
Well,
like Joe
Jack
Buck.
was
Jack
his
Buck,
dad
sorry.
with
No,
the
that's what I'm talking
Cardinals.
about, Jack
yes,
Buck.
yes.
Thanks, guys. Reboot
All
Repair.
right. Give him a call.
As
But
they
just
sneak
not
out the
tonight
door.
because
Yeah.
they've had a long
Yeah.
day.
And I'll give a quick story. I'm sure you guys already know this, but maybe some viewers don't. But it was funny how Bob McKenzie, who was a writer at the time for the Toronto Star, and Toronto Star, I think it was the Star, and was saying how Gretzky was playing like he had a piano on his back, and then all of a sudden, Gretzky goes off and has that hat trick in Game 7 at Maple Leaf Gardens.
But that's how he was first described when he come up into the league. He said he
Right.
skates like he's got a piano on his back,
Yeah.
and he did. He skated all hunched over. And
Do you know
Yeah.
the elevator story?
Which one?
Les,
No. So Gretzky takes the elevator down, and there's a security, or not, maybe security or whatever, running the elevator, and he goes, we got to get ready. There's going to be mayhem tonight in Toronto. I don't start till 9 o'clock, but it's going to be crazy after the Leaf game, when they win. And Gretzky goes, well, you can not worry too much about that because my shift starts at 7. Something like that.
Yeah.
And had the game of his life.
And Gretzky still calls it his best Game 7 ever.
Yeah, right.
One of the best. It was one of the best games ever.
Now,
period.
let's face it, there was some lucky goal, like that one where he went around the back of the net. And
that was
Is
on
it-
purpose, dude. That was
but
totally
is it
on
luck or
purpose.
talent?
It was totally on purpose.
He definitely tried to do it, but to actually have it bounce off the defenseman's skate by Felix.
Yeah, and you know what he said, right? He said, "I'm Wayne Gretzky, bitch."
Because if somebody else does that, it's luck. I think if Gretzky does it, it's just a
But
Gretzky
you're right,
type
though.
goal.
He did try and do that. Like
He
it
come
wasn't
around the
just a
net and
blind
said,
pass.
"I'm Wayne Gretzky, bitch," and he bounced one in off Elliot's skate, and that was the end of the Leafs from there.
Dave Ellett. There you go.
They'd never been back.
Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness.
I think they got close once when they lost to Carolina. When was that? 01 or something like that. I don't know. I was a lot younger then.
I had guys I worked with that went down to that Carolina game and just walked in and got tickets. Like,
Oh,
that's,
really? Wow.
That's against the Leafs.
Oh,
It's crazy.
speaking about Leaf playoff games, remember when we went to see Philadelphia?
Yes, I do.
And
Yep.
I
Triple
sat with
overtime.
Craig Mounier, and you sat with Luke Tinning,
Yep.
right? And all of a sudden, everybody started to get up and leave in the overtime. And I'm sitting there, and I said to the guy, "Where's everybody going?" He goes, "The last streetcar north."
Last streetcar.
Really?
And people were just leaving. I'm going, "That's insane."
So they're committed until the last ride.
Triple, and it was, in fairness, it
Triple
was triple
overtime,
overtime. Philly had 76 shots on net, and finally, Jeremy Roenick scores the overtime winner.
Right.
And me and the other 3 dudes that had Flyer jerseys on in Maple Leaf Gardens at the time. Or was, it was Maple
it
Leaf.
was
no,
Maple.
it was Scotiabank.
Oh, it was?
Scotiabank.
Yeah,
Was it
'cause I remember we were up
'cause
in the purples.
We parked down there. We couldn't find the van after. Remember?
We brought extra Kleenex because
Yeah.
we were getting a nosebleed from our seats, but we were in
Yep.
the building. That's
Yep,
all that matters.
That's all that mattered.
And I remember early in that game, Darcy Tucker gooned. Who was it? He gooned. He went up, jumped, left his feet, and dropped an elbow right under the chin.
Kapanen.
Kapanen. Yes.
Kapanen along the
Was
boards.
it?
And he tried to
Wow.
get to the bench. And,
Nice memory.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember the hit. I remember it well.
What a game that was! But I tell you what, it was that was amazing atmosphere.
The
It
reason
really
why I
was.
remember that so well is because my my former brother-in-law, Flyers fan, huge, and just he saw that and goes, "Yeah, we're in trouble." But they played well, and was that the series where Roenick's face was mangled?
Oh,
and he
yeah.
goes, "I feel like we're not getting the calls. Like, look at my face," and it was like a complete disaster.
So do you remember the dude on the street when we're walking? we were walking to the rink. Don't you remember the guy on the bike?
Okay.
Okay, so,
Oh my God.
we parked the van and
Classic
we're walking
Toronto
to the
story.
rink. And some dude, keep in mind, it's still winter.
No.
basically.
We parked the van and we walked to Gretzky's. And
Oh,
we're
that's right,
walking
too.
back from Gretzky's
Right.
to the rink.
Anyway, we're walking through downtown Toronto, and I've got my John Leclerc jersey on.
John Chocolate Leclerc.
Oh man. So we're standing at a red light, and this guy's on a bicycle. He's about my age now at the time, and he looks this way and that way, and he rides his bike across the street, parks it right beside me, doesn't introduce himself, looks at me, looks at my jersey, looks back at me, and goes, "You look dumb, you talk dumb, you are dumb," and just drives his bike away. I'll never forget that.
We're just sitting there looking at each other going,
What just happened?
What the fuck just happened there? Dude just walked up to me, "You look dumb, you talk dumb, you are dumb," and just rode his bicycle away right in the middle of winter, man.
but the way the guy made a beeline, like I'm looking at
I'm
these guys
thinking-
going,
yeah,
is he going to shank one of us here?
the fists were balled up going, am I going to have to go there? I'm going to pop him before he gets the other
You
leg off
find
that
that,
bike.
though.
I promise you
You
that.
find that in Toronto because Jane and I
that was
went to
crazy.
the home opener last year when the Canadians were in town, and I was wearing my Habs jersey, and she wore a Leafs jersey. I said, just so you know, we might hear a little banter. And we are walking up the street, and we're walking across just by on Simcoe Street there, just by the bridge. And the guy yells out, "What a fucking loser!" Janet's jaw dropped. She goes, "Was that you?" I said, "Yep." That's what it was. She goes, "I thought you were kidding." I said, "Oh no, there could be more.
There
Just
could
give
be
it a
lots
chance."
more. Like I said, I'm not really exaggerating a whole lot when I said there was about 4 of us wearing Flyer jerseys in the whole bloody stands.
Well,
man. It's like, I've been to a lot of venues in a lot of different sports with that. I mean, if you go to a Bills game and they're playing the Raiders, a third of the place will be Raiders jerseys. But I've never been to a venue that had such a small representation of the visiting team. It was crazy.
Do you remember what you said going down? We're driving down, and I had a Ford Freestyle, I think at the time, or no, the van. It was a van,
some kind of van.
and I had a Leaf flag on it.
I think it was a
right?
caravan. Actually.
I had a Leaf van on it, and we're booting down, and all of a sudden the Leaf flag goes flying, and Brian says, "That's a sign."
That's a sign.
Speaking of Flyers fans, how about those 2 poor bastards in the Leaf jerseys in Philly last week? And they I don't know what like I thought they were just minding their own business.
That's a
The
regular
game's
day in
over.
Philly.
I was gonna say, I
Right?
think there's probably some
There's
words spoken. In
There's
it.
there's banter in Toronto. There's something else in Philadelphia.
Exactly.
I've seen it firsthand. I've been to 3 or 4 games in
come on.
Philly, and
guy
let's face
dives
it,
into the penalty box after Ty Domi.
Right.
Yep, and don't forget the fact that Eagles fans booed Santa Claus.
Yeah.
So
Did you guys ever hear that story about Ty Domi? Like he was on a podcast talking about how they were in court. Him and the guy, I guess he's like a rich contractor from Philly.
he was sitting in the first row,
Right. And so he sued Domi, humiliated, embarrassed in front of
and
his...
he did too.
You're right.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
he did.
and
I
Ty-
remember
you
watching
Yeah,
Gary
he
Neal?
was, he was cut
Yep.
over.
Watch
Yeah.
the lawsuit, Ty. Watch the lawsuit. Yep.
So they ended up going back and forth, and Ty finally said, he goes, "I had had enough spending money on lawyers," and he said, "So I instructed my lawyer to call the guy directly and just say, look it, like, do you want to come to Toronto? Like, I'll pay for your whole weekend tickets." So Domi brings the guy and, I don't know, his wife or whoever, and he put him up in the hotel, and that settled the lawsuit by him just...
Oh, I never heard that story. That's cool.
I never heard that either.
Yeah.
I guess
so-
they're fast friends now. Like,
Yeah,
they
they're-
still keep in touch.
Yeah,
so.
Domi says, like, surprisingly, we exchanged texts from time to
Let's
time.
face
Although,
it, Domi could have dummied him up because he fell face forward, and instinctively, I'm guessing,
Right.
instinctively, he grabbed him by the shirt and got it up.
Pulled
But
it
I'm
over.
surprised that that guy that fell in wasn't hurt. Like that's a 6-foot
yeah.
drop.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
falling off a ladder,
And
and,
the-
then
and-
you got Ty Domi on you.
The ref and linesman couldn't get in because the door wouldn't open.
Well, pulled
And
an Andre
yeah,
Prevost.
he's like feeding out. But yeah, that was
Those you fans who don't know what we're talking about, just Google that.
Google it,
Yeah.
YouTube it. Yeah, yeah, it's very entertaining. It's
worth
Ty
a look.
Domi.
So let's get started.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
Glad you're here, Chester.
Oh yeah, Chester's
Be
here.
here.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of Chester, I noticed ironically that I looked at the standings on the weekend, and as good as things are going for Toronto, if the playoffs started today, who do they get to play first
The
round?
Boston Bruins.
Boston.
Bring it on.
Probably
Boston.
the last team you guys want to play.
Wow.
You know what?
There's
though?
so many teams we don't want to play.
There's 12 or
there's a
13
lot.
in the East
I
alone.
was going to say,
Exactly.
there's going to be 8 teams in the playoffs, and we don't want to play
no,
any of them.
No.
Is there a bye?
It's all bad.
I'm not going to kid anybody. We're in a bit of a funk. I think we were 3-6-1
Well,
in our last 10, but that big win on Saturday.
that goal
against
that went
in
Florida.
Yeah,
That
I
goal-
watched the end of that game against
Did you see that game?
We'll take
Florida.
that. Yeah,
Chester?
I mean, we need that
on Saturday, you saw
yeah.
that game.
Yeah,
Huge statement game.
yeah.
It looked
Huge
like a
statement.
point after
Oh
that
my
tying goal because it
Oh.
was 8 feet in front of the net, went right up in the air, and the Boston defenseman swings at it and misses. Maybe because it was left-handed, I don't know, and then drops in the net. And they're just like, holy crap, they tied it up.
Well,
and
then Reinert.
Yeah.
And then they did the same thing on the way in.
Yeah.
The puck went off of somebody on the way in the overtime.
And I'll let you explain more, Chester. But I liked their game Saturday. It was a hard playoff preview game. Like they played well.
The stat, sorry, I'll let you go in a second, but the stat that really drove me was the fact that, no, I just had to get this out because the guy said near the end of the game that Florida directed 100 shots at the net. Between block shots and missed shots and on target,
wow.
100 shots at the net in
That's
that
Junior
game.
B stats.
That's
Right?
2 for 1.
170,000.
No,
No,
it's
just kidding.
been a bit of a grind. When Sacco came over, you get the new coach vibes, and you
bump.
get about a 10-game bump, which is great.
Yeah.
But I think, honestly, reality I think is set in. They're not a very deep team compared to other years. You can argue that, they still work hard. They're the Boston Bruins. They play a certain style of hockey.
Right. They're dangerous.
But in all reality, too, they got a second-rate goaltender who's making first-rate money.
Right?
A guy unproven.
Who didn't want to come to
Exactly.
camp.
I
And
still
like
think
that
that's
is.
I still think that there's something going on with that dressing room. But that Marchand Pasternak stuff got all put under the rug.
Yeah.
And I believe both those guys.
I like the way Marchand
Yeah,
handled it.
he handled
Yeah.
it
in
like
front
he
of the-
should have. He didn't hide from it.
Yep.
And even Pasta had a little short thing to say about it, too. And it was Mom's weekend, too, so the moms were all happy, and everyone looked like a big, happy family.
That was
Winning
awesome
cures
with
everything.
Marchand's
Marchand's
mom.
mom.
Oh my God, that
Yeah.
was so cool. Google that too, guys. If you
She
haven't seen
runs
that.
the show because she's been there for so long.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
for sure, yeah.
Well, it
But,
sounds
yeah,
bad,
winning,
doesn't
winning
it?
fixes all that stuff.
Yeah. You're going to have you got a wild ride down there, though, right now.
I heard it.
That wild card.
I'm just saying. Google Marchand's mom.
Easy.
Yeah, I guess we should elaborate. It's Mom's weekend, not Mom's gone wild.
There's no cups.
It's Mom's
There's
weekend.
no cups.
Yeah.
Speaking of Corey Perry,
Yeah.
Right.
Google Marchand's mom on safe mode.
She's not bad looking either.
She's
Easy on the eyes.
She's actually quite attractive.
She is. She really is.
Oh, my gosh.
And I'm very happy in my relationship.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah,
love
man,
you,
it's just-
Janet.
Yeah. like,
Wow.
there's no question.
This show
but-
just went off the rails.
That's funny. I love it. I love it.
As we were saying, Chester, you got a big battle down there in the wild card race.
oh yeah, it's going to change every night, and I'm just glad we're in the mix because about a week ago I was like, this is falling
Yeah.
quickly and not good. But no, you know what? We're going to hang around. They always will. But it's there's so many teams. Look at Columbus.
Yeah.
They're right
Kudos to
there.
Columbus. Yeah. I mean, for all the
Right.
shit they went through over the summer. And
Yeah, no, I didn't expect anything out of them, and they're right there. Pittsburgh, I think you guys talked about it last week. Pittsburgh's playing really well, and you got Tampa's back up in the 3 spot again, and it's going to be.
Do you know what,
interesting
though?
40 games.
it's so close. It's
Chester-
almost like the junior Bs. It's so tight
Right.
there, right?
Almost.
It is.
Almost
Honestly,
as
though,
good.
Chester, and I know you're timid with some of the comments just because of where you're at. You guys are still the Bruins. Like, you're still the
exactly.
Boston Bruins. And
Yes.
that game on Saturday, if you didn't see it, back and forth, and Florida is flying all over that ice.
Oh, yeah, they're
You
good.
guys contained them. Yes, it went to overtime. But that game, I just kept on watching it, and I'm going, man, this is Boston.
Yeah, and that was a
You
big
just
road
have to
point for them.
Yeah.
You just have to figure out how to bottle that and get the momentum going. You guys are going to be fine. And I know you're not as deep as you'd like to be, but I'm telling you, man, it's the Boston Bruins. You're that good.
They're in a situation where they need to score 3 or 4 a night to win, and that does scare me because of the
That's
depth.
fair.
Because we're not getting the play in the net that we need. But yeah, it's going to be. They play like that. They can bottle that up and get her going again.
Yeah.
They'll be right in the mix. I've said from day one, they'll be right there.
I still think Swayman has time. Well, obviously has time to turn it
he
around,
does.
and the playoffs are still a while away. We're only at the halfway mark. But speaking of the halfway mark, I was looking at the halfway point trophies. I want to get your guys' inputs on some of these trophies.
Connor Hellebuck.
Wow, right?
He's in the heart race.
Yeah. So you've got him, Draisaitl, Jack Eichel, Kaprizov, who's hurt, McKinnon, and Marner. Who are you liking at the halfway point for
Well,
MVP?
if Connor Hellebuck has 6 losses and 6 shutouts, right now I'm going with Connor Hellebuck.
Okay.
He is having a career year.
Well, Winnipeg wouldn't be where they are without him, right? Like, let's
Just look at
face
the
it.
three. Just look at the 3 teams leading the league.
Right.
Golden Knights. Everybody, we all expected the Golden Knights
Yeah.
to be up there.
And you got Eichel.
And you got Washington.
Yeah. Great job. Like,
And then
who
you have-
saw that?
Yeah, when you get to Jack Adams, we can talk about Washington.
And
Right.
then we have that team we always talk about and say Winnipeg who.
Right.
And look what Winnipeg is doing.
But we've never said
Who?
that. It's who are they?
Who are
Who
they?
are they?
Well, we know who they are now.
They are Connor Hellebuck, apparently.
Who?
I'll
who
tell you
are
what. I will bet that they don't make it past the second round. I don't see it with that team. They do this every year, and not to the point that they are this year, but this is who they are. They are a extremely competitive team in the regular season, and when the chips are down, they're nowhere to be found, and that's who they are.
Yeah.
I agree with
I have
you.
no other way to think about it because that's all they've ever done.
They've got a cancer in one of their best players in Shifley, and he's
Really?
just he's,
So you don't like them?
no, like he's
Yeah, what are you saying?
just
Who is he?
Who is he?
He's a guy. He's a guy that is not loved by his teammates.
Oh, okay.
He's
I
a
didn't know.
great
Okay.
player, but I think that he's the sort of guy where his teammates know that they need him if they want to go anywhere. But he's not a guy that other people like. He was left off Team Canada for the Four Nations Cup. Shocking, like he's a top line player, but why do they not want him in the dressing room? And I just think I agree with you. Other than Hellebuck, I don't think
I
that
don't.
they
I
got-
don't even rely on Hellebuck. He's a regular season goalie. You don't have to look far to see his playoff results.
He hasn't
And
done
They gave up a lot of goals in that
Yeah.
series last year,
Yeah.
didn't they?
Yeah.
Holly, it's not
They got,
even fair.
Like it
how
was
many
6 in the
goalies he
first
got
game,
up.
I think.
Like 6 in the first game, and I think they lost 6-5 or whatever.
Yeah,
Whatever
they
it
were
was.
basically one save from overtime, and he couldn't give it to them.
And they're going, oh, the Jets won. I'm like, Hellebuck let in like 5-6 goals. Like, what are we talking about?
So who are
And
you?
it never got further.
Who are you thinking then for MVP at the halfway point?
Connor McDavid.
McDavid.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's
Juster?
he's my MVP.
He's him and Draisaitl are like 1A and 1B.
Yeah,
all
those
the time.
two are pretty easy. If the Tampa Bay can keep riding here, and Cooch is going to be right in the mix.
Okay.
Couldn't agree more.
Okay.
Because they're right there, and they seem to be getting better. So don't
I
be
love it what
shocked.
they've done without Stammer there.
Yeah.
Like that has been impressive.
Well, look who stepped in, like Hagel,
Right.
and we talked last week about some of our picks for Stanley Cup opportunities,
Yep.
and not to disrupt your thought there, Jess, but Tampa Bay, man,
Yeah.
watch out.
Okay. Cooch, Halser, who are you thinking?
Well, I'm old, so I fundamentally disagree with giving goaltenders MVP
Yep.
because they
Okay.
have their own trophy. Kind of
Yep.
like in baseball, I don't like giving pitchers MVPs because they got a Cy Young.
Yep.
But where is Winnipeg without Hellebuck?
Yep.
Are they even in the playoffs? You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just it's hard for me. I'm because I'm old school. I believe in MVP.
Right.
There's the guy who's the best player or the guy who had the best You know, I think there's a Pearson Trophy or something for the best offensive player of the year, and an Art Ross Trophy for the guy who gets the most points.
Yeah.
But MVP has to be actual MVP. There's a huge argument going on in football right now about which guy's going to get that. And I just think if you truly call it a most valuable player award,
Yeah.
it's the only question that is relevant is where is your team if you're not there. Now, obviously, all these teams are worse off without the guys we're talking
Sure.
about. But I think Winnipeg is nowhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Without
Edmonton's still a very good hockey club without either one of Draisaitl or McDavid.
David.
You think they are?
I think they are,
I
sure.
think so.
They've
You
got,
think they're okay without those guys?
Without one of them.
obviously,
Either.
like I said, I qualified it by saying, obviously, all of these
Okay.
teams are not near as good as they were.
I see what you're saying.
But I think Edmonton is still a playoff team without one or the other of those guys.
One of them could get hurt, and they would still.
And the other one could
stumble
step
in.
up and probably score 150 points because he's not sharing the puck, he's not sharing any ice time,
Right.
blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, though, where is Winnipeg without Hellebuck? I don't even see them as a playoff
Yeah.
team.
Yeah. Fair
So
enough.
I got it. Like I said, even though I am
Okay.
fundamentally against giving it to a goalie,
Okay.
it's pretty strong
So
case made by
two of you are taking goalies. We got Cooch. You said who?
Connor McDavid.
McDavid. I'm gonna go and say Nathan McKinnon because when they had their goaltending woes at the beginning of the year, he was still lights out. Like in 43 games, he's got 15 goals, 53 assists. Like
True, but where are they in the standings?
Wow.
They're barely a playoff team.
fair.
You know
now
what I mean?
that they've got their goaltending,
But I will say this.
somewhat. But
he is
he's
leading now since Middleton got hurt. I believe he's
Yeah.
leading in plus minus now, isn't he, McKinnon?
Yeah, he
I
is.
think you're right. Yeah.
And that's
he's lighting it up, make
That's
no
an
mistake.
impressive stat when
Oh,
you
yeah.
are leading the league in points and leading the league in plus
Right.
minus.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen very often.
Here's-
That's
Solid.
Bobby Orr numbers.
Here's a quick question. With Leon Draisaitl, and make no mistake, he's a two-time Hart Trophy winner. Two-time.
I think so.
Is he a two-time Hart Trophy winner without the kid from Newmarket?
No.
There's no wrong answers.
That's a hard one because they've
Good
never
question.
played a.
I don't know.
I don't know because they've never
Hmm.
really played a part.
He takes a lot of heat. Like McDavid obviously takes a lot of heat and vice versa, like off of each
So
other.
if Draisaitl plays his last, let's just say 8 years in Calgary, is he a two-time Hart Trophy winner?
Maybe.
He might be.
Maybe. Like
No,
depending
he-
on who
someone's
Calgary
gotta
has.
score.
So
right?
it's
Yeah.
not devastatingly decided that he would be. That to me is why Connor McDavid is the most valuable player in the league.
I mean, to your point, he's the best player, and
Yeah.
so you could blindfold
sure.
yourself and give McDavid MVP and be able to sleep at night
Yeah.
every year.
Yeah.
because he's the best player.
Okay.
Who are you guys thinking for the Norris? You've got Makar lighting it up as usual. Quinn Hughes, Zach Werenski. Like he's lights out for Columbus. Like I don't know if guys are aware of that. 42 games, he's got 13 goals, 35 assists. He's leading the whole team in scoring.
Yeah, but is Norris Trophy points or is it?
Sometimes,
Well,
it's a contributing factor.
It's a combination of the two, right? Like they're not going to give it to Chris Tanev ever, but
Why?
they should with all of his shot blocks, right? Like he has single-handedly changed the mindset of Toronto's D, right? But who would you take, Les? Who would you take for the Norris? Makar. Is it a no-brainer? I know you like Hughes. You always talk highly.
No,
of
I think
him.
right now Makar might be your best double threat.
Okay. Halser.
Jake Middleton. Jake fucking Middleton's the Norris Trophy winner this year. Put it on paper now.
Yes, guy.
All right.
Was leading the league in plus minus. He's in the top 10 in hits. And he's probably got the best mustache in the
That
NHL.
right?
the old Duster,
Yeah.
and that's why
Yes.
I'm saying that. Okay,
That should count.
Love
That
it.
should be part of the voting. Points,
Kidding me?
plus minus,
Love it.
hits, and
Duster.
facial hair.
no
All right.
argument.
Okay, that's
Chester, who are you thinking?
Makar has no facial hair.
Yeah,
No.
see? What a loser.
He
Because
looks
I
like
think
he's
he's still too
18.
young not to make any, not to grow any.
He's not
Come on,
shaving
man.
yet.
What's,
No, I think,
welcome to puberty, Makar. Let's go.
Right.
Come on.
with all due respect to Hawley's decision, I think Makar is just miles ahead of everybody else. And I think Hughes is obviously phenomenal.
Yeah.
He's just not there yet. Makar is the
Okay.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah, Jake Middleton.
There you go.
Jake
Yeah.
Middleton. Okay.
So
I'm-
here we'll sorry.
No, I was just going
Here
to
we'll
say.
say one thing. We laugh about that.
You guys are laughing. I'm not laughing.
Think about 2 years from now, as he's gaining momentum and understanding his role, and you think back to Chris Pronger with his not only Hart Trophy, but Norris Trophy wins, and it's not necessarily all about the points, and there's different categories you can look at. I think everybody at this table is educated about Jake Middleton's game.
Sure.
I would like anybody at this table to argue with me with as things progress with his career and what he is doing and the impact he is making in Minnesota, how some way, somehow, there would be an opportunity that his name comes up with that. And that's where I'll leave it.
But the only problem I think is he's in Minnesota.
Yeah, I was going to say Minnesota.
That's part of the problem.
Do you think Pronger had a huge stock in St. Louis?
Oh yeah, there's more media in St. Louis than there is in Minnesota.
Well, they have everything in Minnesota because
Yeah,
it's
but
the hockey
I'm just saying.
capital of the U.S.
I'm
Fair.
just saying it's
Okay.
because he's in Minnesota. They don't get the spotlight
They
like
can't
the other
get
teams
players
do,
in
so.
St. Louis.
I've got to go ahead. Like I love Makar. I gotta go along with you, Les. Like he's just that good. I don't see as much of Makar or Quinn Hughes, but every highlight reel just seems to have Makar's name on it. And let's face it, at the end of the day, they do, factor in offensive stats. Unfortunately or fortunately, it depends which way you look at it. You bring up a lot of great points, Jeff, but I just don't know. Because he doesn't have.
You're right.
the
Points is a
offensive-
big factor.
It is.
It seems strange to
It
me. Like
is.
they also include points as a contributing factor in a Lady Bing.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, what the hell do points have to do with a
Exactly.
Lady Bing?
Right.
You know what I mean?
He's the most
So,
gentlemanly.
yeah.
Have you heard?
Oh,
like,
and he gets
any
50 points.
Right.
Halfway talks about that award yet? Like, have you guys actually heard like the mainstream media talk
No.
about
Any of the
halfway
candidates,
through?
if you will?
Like
No.
No, we're
No,
trendsetters here.
Razor
Chad.
didn't even
That's a
run
good
this
idea,
by
yeah.
us in the pregame.
Yeah.
I'm
I
like,
think
this is
that's good.
I wanted to get your guys' honest opinions. I didn't want to preface it.
It's always,
I
it's
like-
always a surprise what comes out of Razor.
Who
Right?
do you think? What the hell?
All right, let's go
All
to
right.
the Calder.
Don't go to the Lady
You
Bing.
got
Maxim
Celebrini. You got your boy Lane Hudson, Dustin Wolf, goalie out of Calgary. That guys are lighting it up, and Dennis Williams alumni from Everett Silvertips.
Nice.
So he's apparently lights out. He's got a .916 save percentage for the Flames. And Michkov, your boy Michkov, he's got to get back on the horse. So Lester, who are you thinking for the Calder?
Celebrating in San Jose. He's
Yeah.
playing on a team that's not very good, but
Uh-huh.
he's playing very well.
He's lights out. Like you don't hear a whole lot about San Jose other than him. Like there's just not.
We
a lot
don't
of
hear a lot
chatter.
about it because he's on the West Coast.
True, and they're not a very good team, so
And their
they're
games
not
don't
on
start
any
till 10:30.
right. But like they're not playing on any national game night. They're not playing on any Monday night prime games or anything like that. So it's very limited.
And I'm not staying up till 10:30 to watch Maxim
Right.
Celebrating play.
Exactly. Halser, who are you?
I got to agree with Les and keep factor into the fact the numbers that he's putting up and factor into the fact that he missed a bunch of games at the start of the year.
Yeah.
So his development was retarded to begin with, and now he looks like the first overall pick that everybody thought he was going to be.
Right. Right. Chester.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. I think the NHL marketing machine when it comes to that award,
Yeah.
they have a couple guys they want to win that award. For the future of the game, especially
Sure.
out in the West Coast, I think it's a no-brainer to pick him as long
Right.
as he continues doing what he's doing.
Yeah. Jeff?
Well, there's a difference between being picked first overall and being picked 62nd overall. And the 62nd pick that I'm being biased about is Mr. Hudson in Montreal. This is a kid who's 5'9", 160, playing at the NHL level in his rookie year at 20 years old, playing 20 to 22 minutes a night. He's being impactful. He's being, let's put it this way, he's on the whiteboard, on the opposing team's whiteboard because he's effective.
100.
He's safe. He's calculated. he could be the biggest prospect defensively that I've seen in a long time in Montreal.
Since Big Bird.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah,
there's a lot of
Larry.
reason to be excited about this kid, and it's not necessarily about the points. He's slippery. He is so smart, and he has to be because of his size.
Right.
And let me be overly clear. Celebrini is an amazing player, and he's showing it. He is very good at what he does. He's going to have a great career in the NHL in San Jose. He's going to be one of the pinnacles of that organization. But at this point, what I will say is Mr. Hudson, at 20 years old in Montreal on the big stage, is over-exceeding any type of expectation that they would have ever thought. And I'm just looking forward. The Calder's one of those opportunities where your boy in Philly there, Michkov, what a great class. And it's encouraging to see, and I know you said it too, Chester, like, we need this type of talent coming up through the ranks
100.
because it's going to continue to build this brand that the owners want, that the players want to be a part of. And to be honest, like we need San Jose's of the world to be back on track and to get that, that gullet of.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. Well, at least it wasn't pouring less. Like,
Right.
It could have been a lot worse.
Wasn't Marchand's mom.
But anyways, that's my 2 cents.
Hey, you know what?
Well done.
That was quite a speech.
That was good.
That sounded
20
dangerously
points.
rehearsed.
That wasn't rehearsed?
No.
Just in front of the mirror, not in front of anyone.
Hey, Janet, what do you think of this one? This is what I'm going to say.
I'm going to say
throw a
this
curveball.
tonight. 20 points in his last 20 games. I love the guy. Ever since I saw the highlight reel in training camp where he did a sauce pass from his own hash marks in his end over the other 9 players to the Habs player darting it on the other team's
Yeah.
blue line right on the tape, and like the puck just sucked the ice when it came down.
He's for real.
He
and,
is.
At
And his
20,
brother-
at 20, yeah, he led the juniors.
Led the World Juniors for Team USA. Like,
Yeah.
these guys are legit.
The kind of the optics that you see on the kid is, well, he's 5'9", 160.
Yeah.
He's not overwhelming.
Yeah.
You have to play different. You have to be even smarter to be that size and be a defenseman in the NHL. And he is 20 years old, and we haven't even seen his best hockey.
Yeah. I
So,
like him.
anyways.
Did he go NCAA or?
Ooh, that's a good
Hudson?
question.
Yeah, he.
No, US
No, the
Development.
brother was with Boston College.
Yeah.
Was he U.S. Development?
Yeah, he was U.S.
Okay.
Development.
Yeah, but
The brothers with
67
Boston
overall,
College.
and here we are.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, awesome.
I like those stories, and I'm just, I'm thankful that he's on our team.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, yeah, you guys are.
It's always fun having
spoiled.
exciting prospects. Eh?
No, I love
100%.
what he brings. He's got great creativity.
Nothing against Celebrini. Nothing against him.
No, you know what? I had Hudson as well. I love what he brings to the Habs. He's got 31 points in 41 games. He got off to a slow start, but he's really picked it up the last 20 games.
They interviewed St. Louis about 3 weeks ago, and he really started to take off. And he said, "What is it with this kid?" He goes, "He is a sponge.
Yeah.
You tell him to do this or explain to him how to do that, and he does it. And he's consistently progressing to where you see him. And I just think there's no ceiling for this kid. Sounding biased for my team. I don't have any reservations about talking about him like this because I think he's a real deal.
Yeah.
I really do.
I do too. Last but not least, Jack Adams. Who's the top coach in the league right now? You got Spencer Carberry with Washington, Craig Berube with the Leafs, Scott Arniel in Winnipeg, or Bruce Cassidy in Vegas. Lester.
Carberry in Washington.
Spencer Carberry. How do
That
you
team,
deny
that
what
team
he's
should
done?
not be where they are, if you
Right.
look at it.
Yeah, add to that the fact that their star was out for a month or
Yeah.
whatever it was,
16 games.
and didn't slow down at all.
With a broken leg, comes
which-
back with a broken leg.
Unreal.
16 games.
Unreal.
Which,
It's
which
crazy.
I would have been out for the
which kind
2
of-
years.
Now, I give a lot of the credit to the former GM. It was funny because when I was preparing all of this, they were saying about the GM award, and they're going, he's the guy who did all of the drafting and trading and everything. He's no longer the
That's
GM.
the way
He's
it
now
usually
the
is, though,
president.
right?
Yeah, and
Same
so-
thing happened in Chicago years ago.
Yeah.
Stan Bowman gets all the credit for guys he didn't draft.
Yeah, with Dale Talon doing all of the legwork,
Yeah.
all the
Brian
heavy
Burke
lifting.
winning the cup in Anaheim
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
Brian Murray's team.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, how about you, Halser? Who are you thinking?
Oh, Carberry, yeah.
Carberry as
100%,
well?
yep.
Okay.
Anybody who can win with Ovechkin in the lineup, he gets my vote.
Right? Yeah.
Teach them that there's two ends of the ice. That's pretty good. Right?
Oh, love it. Chester, who are you liking?
Joe Sacco.
Joe Sacco. All right. Jeez, I didn't see that one coming.
Well, he doesn't even count. He's intern, isn't he?
Yeah, he's not even the
Oh no.
Is he not official?
No.
Montgomery. It's going to be
Intern.
Montgomery.
Oh, well, you know what? Why
That
not?
incredible job Montgomery's doing
Yeah,
in St.
why
Louis.
not?
Right?
Yeah.
No, I think Washington continues to do what they're doing. Definitely. Keep an eye on Tampa, like I said earlier.
John Cooper's like a
Cooper, if he can
stalwart,
bring that
yeah.
team up and they have a good play, I mean, they probably make the decisions well before the playoffs. But if they're right there in the mix again, you can never keep Cooper out, I don't think.
Yeah.
He's just so good. And they don't have the team they used to have.
No.
And they consistently are hard to play against.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. Nobody looks forward to playing 2-3 times Stanley Cup champion.
Yeah.
Tampa?
3?
3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Burrs?
I am honestly.
Torts is my favorite coach, but sorry, he was asking me.
You know your microphone's
Mute.
it's okay.
Mute.
John Cooper.
John Cooper. Okay.
John Cooper. They just cracked into the top 3 of the Atlantic, and I'm just a huge fan. Second, and a very close second, is Paul Maurice. How he can corral Stanley Cup hangover and it doesn't happen. You don't have to be first in your conference. You don't have to be first in your division. You have to compete. You have to be good, and they are doing all of that. With all the different personalities. I look at a guy like Sam Reinhart, who you
Right.
think 50 plus goals, and you think it might be a brain fart. But here he is, and he's back at it, and you have to convince these players. You lost Montour. You lost Oliver Ekman-Larsson.
Yep.
You lost some heavy hitters on your D. They're still getting it done. They're still competing. And that has everything to do with the coach.
Absolutely.
The culture's there, right?
The
Yeah.
culture is there.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
Paul Maurice.
Yeah, I
love
know.
him.
He's a great
Yep.
coach.
He's a tough guy not to like.
I gotta say the same as you guys with Spencer Carberry. What he's done with now, obviously he was given those guys, but to get Pierre-Luc Dubois, to
He's
be
got
playing,
he's got Dubois playing.
And
He's got
Strome.
him running, eh?
that
Strome.
is
It's-
amazing in itself.
I was just going to say 2
And-
comeback players of the year right there.
and
you know.
and so and he's got Ovi, doing his thing. Like Ovi could kill a career if he wanted to, right? Just look at Dale Hunter.
It has.
Right. And so you've got Carberry, who's smart enough to realize that, you know what, I just got to let these guys do their thing, and I just got to, push when I got to and pull when I have to. I think he's done a great job.
Yeah,
But
all good choices.
Absolutely.
All good choices.
before we go to break, I want to talk. I found this really interesting. Was the talk of 2 new teams coming? So they were talking to Bettman about 3 different things coming up for 2025. They've got a talk of 2 new teams coming in the near future, and they say that Houston's almost guaranteed to come into the league. The other one that they're talking about is Atlanta for the 3rd
Oh,
time.
for God's sake.
And-
Let's just keep kicking that horse that
Right?
does not work.
They want that
It's not even a
market,
horse; it's a skeleton. Like,
right?
it's
That would be
over.
the third. That's the 3rd time. And
It's
poor,
over.
And poor Quebec, right? Is
Wow.
the bridesmaid again? But before they announced the expansion, they said the owners want to resolve a couple of things. They want to resolve the collective bargaining agreement because that comes up this year. Then they'll deal with league expansion because teams are going for $1 billion now. Like the Coyotes sold to Utah for $1 billion. Like that's ridiculous.
What's your ROI
right?
on the Coyotes for $1 billion?
billion.
100%. 100%.
Will
right?
the Planet
you-
still be around in those days?
Right.
They're still talking to Arizona
Yeah.
about them coming.
Because
Yeah.
he's got first right of refusal,
Exactly.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. So they're actually, I guess Scottsdale is going, you know what? We're not as busy with tourism as not having the Coyotes, so we should probably get that straightened out.
I don't know if they can justify that
I don't know.
claim
But if
when they're getting 2,500 people in a
That's
in a
because they
junior
were
B rink for an NHL game.
But they were so poorly run. No, I'm not talking about when they were at Arizona State. I'm talking about like when they were playing in Scottsdale in a traditional rink. As long as they were winning and making the playoffs, they would fill it. But they're like Tampa and Florida. When Florida was not winning, nobody went to the games, right? Winning solves all your
Were you
problems.
guys on the road on the weekend? Was that in Florida or Boston?
It was in Florida.
Florida.
That place was packed.
Yeah.
It was
That
rocking.
that was a
Absolutely was.
playoff
Yeah.
game.
Exactly.
Man, that was, I know what you're saying.
Right.
On a Tuesday night when you're playing,
On a Tuesday.
let's just say Minnesota,
Right.
the camaraderie isn't there and the fans
It's
are
not
That's
there.
a problem.
To get
What-
hockey to work in Arizona, you need somebody
Lionel
with
Richie
deep,
with
deep,
the
deep,
anthem?
deep pockets.
Lionel Richie.
With the anthem.
Maybe
Right.
it's like
Start there.
an
You
Elon
need-
Musk
right?
type money, right? Bill
heard
Gates has
ya.
got some
I
money
heard
lying
ya.
around or something. He
You
can
need a guy
invest.
who's smart, who can run it, like a Kent Hughes, like
Yeah.
a Brad Trillett, like guys that know how to draft and evaluate talent. But the one thing that I found, which was really interesting, Sportsnet's contract is up this year. Thank God.
It's going to Amazon.
And so while they were talking about the hockey broadcast rights now not being no longer exclusive on one network, so they were talking about a combination of TSN because they've got the best panel. They just didn't want to overpay like
I
Sportsnet
like David
did.
Amber on Sportsnet.
Yeah, he's not too bad, but like you can't beat the panel like with Mackenzie and O-Dog and
Well, it's an opinion.
yeah, but
I can beat them.
Cheryl Pound.
but you've got they're talking.
I like
though-
BX and Botterill going at it. Come on, that's interesting.
But you've got
Biatska's
they want a
amazing.
combination of TSN, Sportsnet, Prime, like
Yeah.
so they're
Netflix.
yeah, so they-
NFL-ish kind
Yeah,
of coverage,
right.
right? I mean, if you looked at there's
Exactly.
Yeah,
there's
the
six
new one
wild
coming
cards,
in,
six wild card games this weekend, and it's covered by six
Yeah.
different
Right.
entities.
yeah, exactly.
And the
so
new one coming in under Netflix, Skinflix.
skin
So-
flick.
Oh boy, we better take a break.
Hello.
Marshawn's mom coming to a theater near you.
Get off.
Oh,
Gosh.
Let's take
All
a break.
right.
Let's
Yes.
take
So
a break.
we've got to get
Exactly.
Holly out of here.
Yeah, we'll take
boy,
a
oh
quick
boy.
break and then we'll talk about the Irish because Holly's got to go, and then we'll talk about some sponsors and
Yeah.
go to our first break.
So we'll do.
man.
SBS Metals, metal fabrication with professional craftsmanship. Stratford's preferred custom commercial and residential metal fabricator. SBS Metals, they invite you to check out their social media channels for their custom work. They do a great job. And SBS Metals.
Domino's Pizza, the official pizza of the Armchair Chirpers. Get a free large. Actually, we're out of the free large.
We're out of it.
Jeff just informed me we no longer have any coupons
Yeah,
for
last
the
week.
right. So 2 locations, right? 2 locations: 406 Ontario, 536 Huron Street. Come and support Patrick Spencer, super guy. Still hands out small 2 items for the Irish games where they score over 6 goals. So
Perfect.
He's a smart hockey
Domino's
fella
Pizza.
too.
Yeah, he is. Good
Absolutely.
guy.
And our great friends at Joe's Diner celebrating 10 years of ownership.
Crazy.
Congratulations to the Myers family.
That's amazing.
Talk about blood, sweat, and tears. I get a front row seat for all their, operations that happen week in, week out. And couldn't be more proud to be affiliated with them, just with our sharing of the bricks and mortar that we do. So big congratulations. The official breakfast, lunch, dinner, diner of the Armchair Chirpers, home of the world famous Perth County breakfast, locally owned by the Myers family. 2 locations, St. Mary's and Stratford. And great news that they're 10 years in. Amazing people.
Love them.
Yeah.
Brighter Vision, providing compassionate and effective counseling services to individuals and families in need. They provide a safe and supportive environment where everyone can heal and grow. One thing that I read as well was no longer just in the NHL, but they've just come out with a package for the AHL in East Coast League, where they're now going to give mental support to the players. The NHL's always had a package, but it's great to see that the leagues underneath are now recognizing the value and importance of that. So Brighter Vision, counseling and psychology and wellness.
All right, we'll take a quick break and right back with Holly as we got to talk some Irish, and then after that we're going to talk a wild week in the GOJHL.
Wow. Stay tuned.
She's got me beat, she's got me broken.
All right, we're live. We're gonna
back.
throw this one right to Holly because Holly's on fire.
Well, Holly's also got to leave.
Yes.
so.
Yeah.
All right.
If he
Well,
storms
which
out,
is
it's still like
am I doing well or am I just getting kicked the fuck out of here? All right. Listen, we're going to talk Irish, and there's lots to talk about. So the first, I suppose we should talk or speak about
The
it
Delhi game.
chronologically, I guess. So a week ago Saturday, we talked about how great the game was and how good Magwood looked, and Sullivan Sparks, who may I reiterate is still the coolest name in hockey.
Yeah,
Yes.
that is.
Unfortunately, the Monday or the Tuesday, I found out after we recorded last week's podcast that the game was under protest from Delhi. Now, for those of you who aren't big fans of the Ontario Super Hockey League, they have a points system. And the points system is based on players, 1, 2, or 3, depending on how far they went in their hockey careers. Like, for example, Robbie Schremp, obviously he's the top level guy. He's an NHL player. He's a 3. Certain levels of European hockey, I think like the German league and the Swiss league and maybe the Finnish league are 2s. And then guys who played, say, ECHL or CHL. No, AHLs are also 3s, I think.
Yeah.
Because Magwood's a 3. And I
Magwood's
don't
a
think he
3.
ever played in the league. So anyway, you're only allowed to have so many of these guys in the lineup. 10 points is all you're allowed. So Magwood, for example, is a 3. Justin Murray is a 2.
Sullivan Sparks is a 1.
Well, as it turns out, and that's what happened, is that you're allowed to dress 10 points in a game, and it was appealed afterwards that Stratford had dressed 11 points. And when you went through the lineup again, and I believe Fuller's a 1, and Paka's a 1. So anyhow, the problem was that in the transition from the old regime to the new, you had Dave Cassoni, who was the interim head coach, who did not receive. Sullivan Sparks has only played his 3rd game as an Irish player, scored a hat trick, had a fantastic game.
Great game.
But as it turns out, he's a 1. But it wasn't. It was on the electronic game sheet, but it wasn't on Dave Cassoni's game sheet. So he didn't know that he was dressing too many points. So Delhi appealed and won their protest. And so Delhi, even though they got pumped 7-1, they get the 2 points for that game. And so because the coaching staff was brand new, it was deemed by the league that they didn't know how all the points were coming down, because somehow Sparks got overlooked because he played 4 years with the Oshawa Generals. So poor general manager Jeff Morris gets suspended for 5 games. They lose the 2 points, and the team gets fined an undisclosed amount.
As he should.
Well, that Mo, anybody who knows Mo, he's just he was laughing about it
Morris.
because I've never been suspended from anything before. He said,
I was severely
Mo, I believe
disappointed.
that.
The nicest guy you'd ever meet.
I mean, this guy couldn't get suspended from a dinner party,
No.
frankly.
No.
So he
After 8s.
And I'm not.
So-
Right.
And for those who are watching and maybe missed it, I'm completely being sarcastic. Jeff Morris, if you know him, and if you don't, you would know that he's just
The
just
heart
just
and
great
soul
guy.
of that Irish
Great
team, and the
guy.
nicest guy in the world.
he's just that guy,
They
right?
just-
A guy
they
that
just
everybody
made
likes.
it
you know
was
what I mean?
it
So
was a simple mistake, and that's all it was.
it was an
But
oversight.
5 games.
And so he gets 5
crazy.
games, and of course, the funny part to me is like, okay, so you're suspending a general manager 5 games. Now, which means for the next 5 games,
Just got to sit in the press box.
he can't go on the bench, which he doesn't. He can't go in the room, which he
He
doesn't.
doesn't.
But he can still go in the rink, which he does anyway. He spends, anybody who knows him, he spends all his time upstairs.
Yes.
And so the only change is going to be that because he would come down in between the bench and the penalty box to run some promo that they're doing between periods.
Right.
But he's not going to do that now. He'll stay upstairs and just be Mo and
He's
run the
going
whole
to be
deal.
pacing a hole in the floor.
So no, because they keep him running his ass
Oh,
off
I know,
anyways.
but
So that was last week, and so the difference now is that they went on Saturday up to Delhi in another quirk of the schedule. They played the same team 2 weeks in a row. And sure enough, they go up there and they pump Delhi again, 7-3. Magwood gets 3 more points.
Yep.
And they double-checked their points players to make sure they were conforming.
Yes.
And so all is well under that, guys. And so the big news coming out of the Irish camp is their new coach. It was always known that Dave Cassoni was going to be the interim coach until such time that they found another guy. And they found another guy, and his name is Brandon Berlon, and he is a former second-round pick of the New Jersey Devils. He was a player with the the Orangeville Blitz, but he's not going to play anymore. He's going to come to Stratford. He's going to coach the rest of the season, so they've got a really, really good guy. He didn't spend any time in the league, but he spent 4 or 5 seasons with the Albany River Rats.
Oh, wow.
And so he has a very long hockey career.
Yeah.
And so it's just a fantastic scoop for them. And so he's going to take over the team. Now there's probably going to be some changes with the assistant coaches. He's going to probably bring his own guys
For
in.
sure.
Whether I don't know that for sure. Don't quote me on that. He may want to keep Barry and Terry Casey on the bench, or he may not. You know, like as we see all the time with new coaches, sometimes they want to bring their own guys in.
Yep.
Whether they're buddies or whether they're guys they have worked with in the past or what have you. So
I hope they let him know that if they score 6 goals, we get free pizza.
Right.
Well, I don't think, like, if the Irish have scored 7 goals in the last 4 games.
Yep.
And they are absolutely rolling right now. And they
Yes.
lost, I mean, like I said, they lost the 2 points for that other one, but that doesn't change the fact that they
Right.
pumped that team and ran them right out of the rink. And it could have been a lot worse than that if not for Ben Blacker playing one heck of a third period, which we've seen 3 or 4 times now where, you know, visiting goaltenders standing on their heads in the third period to avoid really, really big numbers.
Holly, lots of information coming up here, and I know we all want to comment. I just want to give a big shout out to Dave Cassoni, who went into the opportunity that was in front of him being head coach, intern, knew that not everything was crystal clear about where the team was going and everything else, and we'll speak too about Terry Casey, Barry Grasby, until this announcement, which I think is a positive. I think it's a good thing.
Absolutely.
I really like the way those guys step in and took ownership of their role, and they did a great job.
Like Dave said,
Great job. 4 straight.
Yeah.
The Irish have, technically they lost on the protest.
Right.
But they have won 4 straight since Cassoni took over the job. And so
We're
he
gonna go
will
get the protest.
he
we're
will-
gonna go do it.
They're going to protest the protest now.
protest.
So, at the end of the day, they've won 4 straight. They're rolling. And now is a good time to hire this guy because they're off this weekend. And then next weekend, it's balls deep, baby. We got Elora in Elora Friday night and at home to Alvinston next Saturday.
So talk about your insider knowledge about what Elora did recently.
Well, there's been some, how can I say this?
Finagling.
What would my father say? There's been skullduggery in the league. And Elora has pulled off a
Google that.
move. Go ahead and Google skullduggery.
Picture your dad right beside it. Skullduggery.
My
Yeah.
favorite principle.
Elora has picked up, though the aforementioned Delhi Flames have basically 5 good hockey players. There's the Blacker brothers. There's Ben, the goalie, and Ian, about a 6'5" defenseman, who's a horse as well, and a point player. The other 3 are Chris Martin, who is, I think, second in the league in goals
Like
behind
8
only
foot.
Feezy, who is about 6'8".
I think he's 8 foot. He looks like 8 foot
He's,
to me.
he's probably 7 feet on skates.
Yeah.
Is second only to Feezy in goals scored. His center iceman, Connolly, and the guy who I voted to be the number 4 defenseman in the Ontario Super Hockey League, Christian Lloyd, who is just a marvelous skater.
Yep.
Picked up all 3 of these guys from Delhi
Shocking.
going to Elora
Shocking.
for poor Alex Munari, who's
That
the only
sounds
guy
reasonable.
who's the only guy going back in the trade. They traded for 2 player cards next season and 2 player cards the season after that. But it turns out this is not a trade. This is a loan. Okay, stay with me here, folks, because this is where it gets complicated. It is in the Constitution of the Ontario Super Hockey League where you are able to loan players to other teams. The spirit of this rule is like, oh man, I lost 4 skaters to another club. I can only dress 16. Can you loan me players? I'll give you player cards for next year. But in this particular case, and it's no indictment on Allura because they're going for it. They've played Mighty Alveston twice.
Yep.
They've got beaten twice. They've given up 14 or 15 goals in those 2 games, and they've just decided, because the thing about Allura, they can score. They can score with anybody in the league, but they have great difficulty keeping it out of their own net.
Right.
Especially when they play Alveston. And like I said, they have given up, I think it's actually 16. They lost 9-5 and I think 7-5 or 7-4 in the 2 times they played Alveston. So they're not. This doesn't actually address the needs that they have to beat Alveston. If I'm thinking Alveston and I'm giving up 16 goals in 2 games, I'm going looking for stud. I'm looking for a Justin Murray.
Right.
I'm looking for a guy that nobody wants to play against. I'm
Right.
looking for a Calvin Thompson, who isn't necessarily going to score a single point for me, but is going to punish you every time you come down his wing.
100.
So instead, he's saying, I can't beat them 3-2, so screw it. I'm going to beat them 9-8. And now it's going to be all the things that Allura was doing to score goals before, and now they picked up basically their 3rd line as Delhi's top line.
Jeez.
And at the end of the season, those guys are going back to Delhi. And how
many games are left?
Well, there are, depending on the team you're talking about, I think the team with the most games left has 6 games left in a 24-game schedule. Strathroy's got 3 games left in the schedule.
And they just did that.
And they just made this move. So there's no trade deadline. This isn't, well, having said that, there could be a trade deadline. This is a loan.
Right.
So the league has got some Desi Arnaz planning to do.
Lucy.
Richie, you got some explaining to do.
And then with that being said, Holly, we're at 6:59.
So at the end of the day, that's what's going on in the league, and you used the word optics earlier, and I'm thinking to myself,
from you though.
Oh, fair enough. That's what I do. The optics for a Delhi fan base. Again, I got no qualms with Allura. They're trying to win a championship.
Fair.
You do what you want to do. They're playing within the rules, within the guidelines, within the Constitution.
They push their chips all in.
Absolutely.
Yep.
But the optics toward the Delhi fan base, like if I'm a guy who has, we've got season tickets to the St. Mary's Lincolns. If we show up one day in January and Spagnolo and Lee and Bortman are all gone to Stratford.
On a loan.
But they'll be back next year. Just keep paying your money for the tickets.
Sure,
they'll be back.
Sure. Keep coming to the games.
So that'd be my question. With my season's ticket to the Delhi, do I also get season's tickets to Allura? Because half your team's playing there now.
Right. Right.
The other optic problem is in the room.
Right.
Like the Blacker brothers and the Golagowski kid, number 24, who's also a really good player. They've invested time. They've invested effort. They've invested money. They've drive through the snow to get to the game. And all of a sudden, tied for the last playoff spot with Strathroy, all of a sudden the team is gutted.
Yeah.
And what are their chances of making the playoffs now?
And I don't know for sure, but do you think probably that conversation happened, though, with the Blacker that you're talking about?
I have no idea, but if you got a brain in your head, you've got to go. Because just like I say, this isn't junior, where you just sort of tell kids where to go and when to be there. This is senior. These guys have other options. And there is another rule that is not known to a lot of people in the Ontario Super Hockey League. If a guy asks for a trade, you must give it to him.
Oh, really?
Okay.
You must give it to him. And that was the McQueen deal last week because
that was a huge deal.
The captain of the Tillsonburg Thunder, Jamie McQueen, asked for a trade and was given one to Strathroy and with another player, and I can't remember who the other player was now.
Right.
But and then Tillsonburg, who gave away their captain and another player, walked into Alveston last weekend and pumped them 10-1. A team that was 18-1. 18-1. So now Alveston is 18-2,
right,
and 0-2 against Tillsonburg.
Yeah.
So
the
let's
defending
hope
champs.
The defending champs.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Tillsonburg is under 500.
Yeah.
So they're under 500 against the rest of the league and 2-0 against. It's just one of those things. Tillsonburg can't beat Stratford. Stratford can't beat Alvinston, and Alvinston can't beat Tillsonburg. It's just one of those things that happens in sports.
And we just need a little karma for Laura when they get into the playoffs.
Oh man, I tell you,
She sometimes.
It's going to be fun watching them lose.
Yeah, that's
when
the best you say.
When you look at the standings, you think most likely scenario is Stratford and Elora in round 2. Yeah. And you say to yourself, but now the other team that's really gone off is Dunnville because they're currently in 7th. Elora is currently in 2nd. Your most likely scenario is those two playing in the first round. And I already spoke to the Dunnville guy, and he's like, we're screwed. You've loaded up this team. You just handed them 3 guys who are all studs, and now we got to deal with these guys in the playoffs. How the hell does that work?
Yeah.
So
terrible
clearly,
optics.
as I mentioned earlier, the optics. I have difficulty with this one, and the optics here are making your league look somewhat unprofessional. And you don't want to overreact to anything in life. That's one thing life's taught me. But at the end of the day, optics. It always comes back to optics and how does your league look when a move like this happens 3 weeks before playoffs?
100%.
It looks
It's
like
a
a
fair
black
question.
guy. It's a black guy.
It looks like a poorly run league.
And so,
you know what, Les?
And
that's
you
what
know,
it looks like.
And
that's
you know
it
what?
looks like.
To the league's demise, Pye was removed from the league a couple.
But the
of
rule
weeks
was there
ago.
before.
The
So.
rule was there, but I guarantee you that he would have had a bigger say. Like, say what you want about
nothing
him.
could be said.
Nothing
or
could be
done
said
about
because
it,
the
but
rule's there.
Nothing could be
Constitution.
said, but
it just reminds me of Mark Stone, where Las Vegas is putting guys on the LTIR to circumvent cap rules, and
Kucherov.
then suddenly he is magically healed in the first game of the playoffs. You know what I mean?
point
It's like,
in time,
okay, yeah, you're playing within the rules, man, but the optics suck.
But at some point in time, the rest of the league needs to go, you know what? If we allow stuff like this to happen, it's going to bring down the rest of the league because you're only going to have 2, maybe 3 teams that are able to compete.
Well,
that's going to ruin the league.
Is this a 2-team playoff now?
Well, because right now you've got like Alvinston first, hands down. Elora second, hands down.
Pretty much.
Where you're jockeying is 3rd, 4th, and 5th. They're separated by 2 points. Petrolia is now back in 3rd with 22 points. Stratford's got 2 games in hand, but they're 4th at 21 points. And Tillsonburg's in 5th with 1 game in hand on Petrolia at 20 points. So it's tight. It's jockeying. 3, 4, and 5 is a really tight race, but like you said, Halser, the optics are terrible.
I just, for karma's sake,
Say it.
Oh man,
Say it.
I want the Irish to play Elora in the second.
Yeah,
round.
100%.
Love it. I would love it.
And I just
would
100%.
do not let me anywhere near one of these if Stratford takes out Elora. Nowhere near one of these because you haven't heard me go off like
Right.
I'll go off.
I guess we're doing a live from the Irish game.
No,
That's
I just-
not possible.
First things first, Stratford has to get by the first round, and they'll have a tough first round opponent. Petrolia is tough.
They are.
Strathroy's got the best goaltender in the league, and now they're pretty much guaranteed to make the playoffs because Delhi gave away the store.
Right.
Tilbury can be tough. Tillsonburg are the defending champions. There's a lot to be said
Yeah,
there. And what
100%.
happens if somehow Tillsonburg drops down to 8, or even if Tillsonburg ends up 4 and in round 2 gets Alvinston, who hasn't beaten them this season and lost to them last year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're looking at, when you just look at it pragmatically, and if you look at it second round potentially, that you've got Tillsonburg and Alvinston playing in the second round and Stratford and Elora. I mean, talk about history.
Oh, yeah.
Those 2 teams, those 4 teams all have the history between them.
100.
And so
The only team that
don't-
hasn't won is Alvinston.
Yeah, isn't that the irony? Is
Right?
that they've got all these guys. They've got, when we talked about the points, I added them up, and they've got like 25 points in play. Remember, you can only dress 10 at a
10,
time.
right.
So they've got all these guys that they're
Yeah.
paying, but only about 6 of them could dress for any
Right.
one game, including
Yeah.
for some reason they've got a 2-point goaltender. I don't know why you'd have 2 points on your goaltender. That only leaves you 8.
Right.
You know what I mean? So fortunately for them, Feezy's only a 1. and he's
That
in the
is
lineup, and
unbelievable.
McEwen's a 1.
That makes no sense.
Well, I mean, it's not about how good you are in this league. And if you look at his stats in junior, he didn't do any of
exactly.
this stuff.
Yeah,
yeah.
Feezy didn't. We've talked about that. Like
Yeah,
Joe
he brought it
Hishen
up.
said
Yeah.
that he brought it up on the internet, and he's like, the guy didn't do anything
No,
in the O.
he's got that magical, and to his
It's
credit,
just
his
unbelievable.
release is
it's all
NHL
world.
level.
It's all world.
It's NHL level,
And he's
he
not
can
a big
shoot
guy.
the puck. So he just every time they get a power play, they set him up on the Bizarro Ovechkin spot in the
Right.
right circle, and
Yes.
and just
Left-hand
feed him.
shot.
Just feed him.
Yeah.
Just feed him. Keep feeding him,
What's
and he
the-
can score.
I
from
didn't
anywhere.
realize he's the assistant coach of the Chatham Maroons.
Yes, he
I
is.
didn't realize
So
that.
Chatham started to come on when he joined the Maroons, and they pretty much turned their season around because they were not a good team at the beginning of the year, and he joined the team as the assistant
Yeah.
coach, and now they're
Like you
we'll
look
get
at,
to that. They're just in the thick of
Yeah.
a mud hole.
Yeah,
Unfortunately-
Halser, he's got to head out.
Yeah, I do. So
But thank you so much for all of your intel. Always
I'm leaving-
Holly, bring
appreciated.
some passion next time, if you don't mind.
I'm leaving my St. Mary's Lincoln's representative behind.
All right, fair enough.
You will
Peace out,
be
everyone.
on the air Saturday night with us.
I will be on the air Saturday night with Les and the General for the big St. Mary's Stratford game. Right after
yes.
with a belly full of chicken.
Yeah,
Yes, half
And,
chicken.
I got my
it's not
ticket.
a quarter chicken.
Yeah.
It's a half chicken.
No doubt. So I got my ticket, that's for sure. So in
Nice.
case you're wondering what we're talking about, Saturday night, I think you have to buy a ticket like any minute
Oh,
now,
it's
otherwise you're
sold
going to
out.
be sold
Sold
out.
out.
Is it
Yesterday
sold out?
was the last
Well,
day. Yeah.
screw you, you're done.
Yeah.
Make sure you get a ticket to the hockey game because, believe it or not, it'll even be better than dinner.
It'll be sold out.
It's
Guaranteed.
not
that
often
game
I
will
say
be
that
sold
where a
out.
hockey game's better
Holly,
than dinner.
we'll get your escort to your house to get to your other.
Yeah, the cops are just showing up now. So thanks for having me on again,
All right,
guys.
brother.
Thanks,
Love
all.
you.
Show.
Appreciate
Peace
having
out,
you.
We'll
everybody.
talk.
All right. Cheers, brother.
Love you, buddy.
Friday, bud.
Take
All right.
care.
All right.
See you later.
All right, Chester, you got tough shoes to fill.
As Gorilla Monsoon would say, the GOJHL sounds like a miscarriage of justice.
Yeah, it's-
Yes,
I,
it
I,
does.
I don't like it. It just does not look good on a league.
No, it's
I might
Kind of
switch
chintzy.
seats.
it's some. See, Halser,
Take care, Holly.
you got to look at just how detrimental allowing stuff like that will go on for the league. It's only going to hurt the league. It is not going to help the league when you got shit like that going
Yeah.
on. So,
Well, the
yeah.
big game comes up in 2 weeks
yes.
against Elvis.
That's going to be
That'll be
awesome.
another.
So
that'll be another must.
Well, they got the big game on the Friday, the 24th, at Elora. For those that are going there, we're trying to get a fan bus with the
short
the
bus.
shakers. The short,
Oh,
8:30 p.m. start time in Elora.
Now that Holly's gone, can we talk about the swearing on this, please?
Yeah.
It's a little disturbing.
Censorship.
Bit too loose.
I love
Yeah,
it.
we went for so
Yes.
long without dropping them. Now they just
Right.
come out like a
Well, it's not even us.
little
It's
lizard.
Holly.
Yeah.
Yeah, just blame him.
I just wanted to
Maybe we'll have to
like,
fine
let him go.
That's awesome.
He'll listen to this, and no, I'm just kidding.
We'll
But
find 'em.
Saturday,
So
January 25th, we've got Alvinston, arguably the biggest game. Well, it is the biggest
It's the
game
biggest
of
game
the
of the
year
Yeah.
up to now.
Fill the barn, guys. Fill the barn.
Absolutely. You are not going to regret it. $5 drinks, and man, oh man.
I did ask Mo if we could get a Les Vader's $3 drink night, and he said absolutely hell no.
oh,
Absolutely
geez.
not.
All
Never
right.
again.
All right. Well, keep working on them. So, but switching gears and talking about Junior B. How was that trade deadline? Was
Oh
there
my
many
God, it was
transactions?
That was a wild trade deadline I've never seen like that in junior hockey. And it's not over, because if you were released before the 7 p.m. deadline, you are now a free agent till February 10th. And you can be picked up by any team at some point before February 10th.
Any
If
names,
you have a card.
Any names that
There
are
are
missing
No,
out?
sorry, Les, for listeners that don't know, if you have a card, what does that mean?
So you only have so many cards. You have 25 cards.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
For your
the
roster
team.
spot, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
yep.
So you have to have a roster spot available. You
Okay.
can't drop a player to fill with a free agent. I don't think so.
Yeah,
I'm not 100%
get
sure
it.
on that. We'd have to talk to the hockey
Wild
ops
though,
about
eh?
that. Oh, it's insane. There was on the 10th alone, there was 53 separate transactions.
It was crazy. Like I was on the internet looking through, and I'm going like Chatham. There was like 2 pages of transactions. Like it was crazy.
The biggest problem was it was on a Friday, and a lot of games were on Friday night. And the
Right.
trade deadline was 7:00.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I text Clark, Jason Clark, and I had probably text Thursday and Friday about 50 times.
Right.
You know, I was trying to do my warm up or my pregame stuff for the broadcast, and I said, "Should I leave some space?" He goes, "Oh yeah, leave some space." And then I said, "Well," and then he sort of let me in on a few things that were happening, and then I'm sitting there going, "My God!" And then I'm sitting there going, "But why is it this not on a Monday or Tuesday when there's no games?"
Right.
Right? So they do it on a Friday and games for 7:00. So you upset your roster on a Friday, and it's not Stratford's excuse, but they made some late trades.
Yep.
And they traded one kid, Tyler Kelly. He was a part of the team for 2 years.
He went to Elmira.
They traded him across the hall to Elmira because Elmira was in town. And he was a well-liked kid in the dressing room.
Did he play for Elmira? that
No,
night?
he did not.
No.
We're sitting there going, wouldn't that be the story? Though?
Jeez.
He comes out and plays for Elmira. And,
I'm glad they did not.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that.
but
That's,
it was so late. We're thinking maybe Elmira just didn't have the gear ready. They
Yeah.
might not have brought a shirt with them or something.
Yeah.
So Stratford had one of their new kids, Caden Long, made it to the rink for game time.
He came from 3 of them came from St. Thomas.
Well, 2 of them came from St. Thomas. So the Stowe kid was just a pass through.
Okay.
He had left St. Thomas already, but St. Thomas wanted a card back.
Gotcha.
So Stratford just acted as a pass through and released him. He's
Because
back
I
in
saw
Florida.
that. I saw that they had signed him, but then released him, and so I was wondering what.
Yeah,
the
it's
backstory
finicky
with
in junior hockey how you have to do something to get certain things back, and because
Okay.
he left the team, Stratford just acted as a pass through.
So Stratford picks up Matthew Blake, a defenseman from St. Thomas.
He's
Tell us about him.
He's a big boy. He's listed at 6'3", but man, I was standing beside him, and I'm only 5'9". I'm sure he's a bit more than 6'3".
Okay.
A very well-mannered young man and a
Like
big
it-
boy and steady on his skates. And
So did they get him for like defensive?
yep,
reasons? Okay.
he's a bigger defenseman
Shutdown
that can
guy.
play. He can play the puck though.
Because they got rid of.
So big
Wojnicki.
They sent him to Hamilton. It was going to be playing time
That was short.
with him. Yeah, it was going to
What
be
did
playing
they?
time.
Did they just feel like his mobility wasn't there, or
It could have
like
been. I'm not exactly sure. It was
Yeah.
just. It was all it was stated to me. He wasn't getting the playing time he wanted. 'Cause
Gotcha.
Stratford has 8 defensemen,
Sure.
and when you get into the playoffs, you're not going to run through 8 defensemen. You're going to get your 6, and you're probably just going to stick with that most
Probably
of the
go
time.
Yeah.
down to 5.
Yeah,
You know, like
Yeah.
in
yeah, and
certain
switch one in,
situations, right?
switch one out.
Yeah.
Right, you'll go 5 steady, and then one will come in and out.
Yeah.
But they sent him to Hamilton in the East, which is a good thing because then he's not in a team that can hurt you in the West.
Right.
Because you never know. He's a big boy, a good
a
kid,
big guy.
great kid. I saw him play 3 games, and the mobility was a bit.
Okay.
It's hard. It's hard. It was tough 3 games for him too.
Okay.
because
You're
2 games in
6'7".
Stratford.
It is hard.
At
Like
17, 18 years old.
I
You're
know.
not.
I was 18 when I got traded to St. Thomas in February. Tim had left 2 months earlier to go to the Knights, and I go to St. Thomas. And you're walking in like it's not like NHL stuff, but you're going to a new high school. You're with a billet family.
Yeah.
Like you're having to make friends on a team very quickly. Like
Yeah.
it's a lot.
It's
Yeah,
a
so-
lot. It's a lot for the kids.
Yeah. So who were Matthew Blake? Matthew Blake didn't make it
So Blake,
it
yeah.
in time for game time. So when he was told he was traded, he had to go back to St. Thomas, get his gear, and then come all the way here. He comes with his parents. So the funny thing was, it was kind of funny. They said, well, we won't get there till about game time. So Nick said, well, you might want to get you and your mom dropped off at the door, and your dad can park 5 blocks away because if there's 1,000 people here, you're not going to find a parking
Right.
spot.
Yeah.
So he was there at the game. He didn't suit up. He suited up Saturday night, and he looked good. He didn't look out of place, but he looked like a player that was playing on a new team and not
How
knowing the
old's
systems.
he? You know?
I can
I'm
tell.
not 100% sure.
He's an 05.
He's an 05. So
Okay.
he's
6'3", 192.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, so
he's a 19-year-old.
19.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, he's
Too much.
Oh, good. You're too much.
but he played steady. He played steady Saturday night, so that was good.
So then, tell us about Caden Long.
So
forward.
Caden Long, Stratford targeted Caden Long before the deadline. There was some other things. There was talk of some other players, but they just didn't make sense. And this Caden Long kid, he a point per game player on a bad hockey team.
Okay.
So
Where was he last? Sorry.
St. Thomas.
Yeah.
32
So-
points in 34 games.
Yeah, and so he was 32 and 32 when he came to Stratford.
He's now your leading scorer.
yes, comes in as the leading scorer.
That's what Stratford out of the top 7 teams, Stratford's got the least goals for. Not by a dramatic amount, but
Yeah, and he started.
that's where
He
they
played
are.
Friday night, and you could tell he was, a little bit out of the element because he, quickly into the arena, get his equipment all straightened up, then talk to the coaches about the system, then
Right.
talk to his line mates about this is how we do it. Go on the power play. Well, this is how we do some penalty killing as well, But he said he's not used to playing in front of that many fans.
Right.
That's another
That's right.
another statement that you get.
How old's he, Chester?
Caden is, I think he's an 05 as well.
I think he's an 05.
Okay, so he's another 19-year-old. Like I love the moves that
Yeah. He's
Nick
from
and
North
Clarkie
Bay.
did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
didn't
so
know that.
He's
Okay.
up from North Bay.
Yeah.
Chase Furlong's up that way too, and I don't know if they know each other or ever cross paths. But so he played on Lewis's line Friday night, and then he moved back onto a line with Schmidt on Saturday night, and he looked better on him. And Schmidt looked good together.
Can we talk a little
Yep.
bit about the addition of Jonas Schmidt?
Yeah, the addition of Stratford's trade deadline was made with adding Jonas Schmidt because he brings a scoring touch, a familiarity with Cole Lewis, experience.
Yes.
He went to Game 7 against Leamington.
Yep.
He knows how to win. He went out west and did his thing.
And
You
that's
know,
good.
yeah.
That's all part of
Yeah.
growing up.
The
and-
Junior B loop is an advancement league.
Yeah.
And you want to advance your players. And he went out west, did his thing, and then he wanted to come home.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. It's
I love that
and
pickup.
just him playing with Cole gives Cole some less responsibility, if you could say that. More
And they
room.
know each other. It's
I
not.
know what you're trying to
Yeah.
say. Yeah.
It's
more
not
room
like
because
they're
they've played together their whole
Right,
life.
yeah,
Because
like
Jonas
it-
has played up a year forever, right?
It's just like they fit like a glove because they know each other. They played it with each other, and it was an easy transition.
I had
And
somebody
can we
com-
be honest
Yeah.
though? Like the Warrior roster is ready to go.
Yeah.
You need Schmidt.
Yes.
You need Schmidt
Yeah.
to
100.
to
Well, you
to
need a
get
natural
into
goal
that-
local
scorer.
boy. Like I don't
Well,
know a
it's
whole
the same
lot.
thing, right?
I don't know much about Blake and Long, but they're not from Stratford. They don't know the history and the expectation.
Yeah, so-
Schmidt does.
Yeah, Caden
and
Long-
I love that.
I asked somebody about Caden Long, and they said he's a natural goal scorer. So Stratford this year,
Perfect.
they've had to produce goals, right? So producing goals and somebody that can score goals, like Jonas Smith is a natural point getter.
Yes,
You know.
he is a workhorse.
Yes.
Like
And
no
he-
one's gonna outwork
But
him.
he said to me after that Friday night game, he said he played like, he goes, honestly, I played like crap.
Really?
And
He said, I
played
just
well.
felt like every time, he goes, the last couple games, he goes, every time I've touched the puck, it feels like everybody's on top of me.
Right.
So it's
Well, it's a
even going to take
transition,
him a
right?
bit to get back into
But
Sure.
the
Fair.
thing
The
about
legs
it
under him.
is it's a great time for him to get back in the lineup,
Well,
get things
Yeah.
going.
He's got a few
talk to the
games.
guys, all that stuff.
You got 16 games to get these kids ready
100%,
for the
right.
playoffs.
100%.
And that's what it is.
And,
And-
he's sleeping in his own bed. He's hanging out with his buddies.
Yeah.
Right? He's got family and friends in the stands. Like, he's going to be fine.
Because I had somebody say to me, it said, well, you got Cole and Jonas back together again. It's like yin and yang out there again.
Right.
Because they're inseparable. They're usually
Absolutely.
always together.
And that's what they want.
Yeah.
That's what they
'Cause they're-
want. And not that there was any type of bar with Lou, but listen, you put Schmitty beside him,
Yeah.
it's just an accent to everything that needs to happen.
So
right?
your power play now, you go from a top heavy line to now you got two solid power play units.
yeah.
Because you got Caden Long and Nagy or Schmidt on the second one, or Lewis and Schmidt or whoever on the top one, right? And you got Binder on the other
Binder's
side.
good, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, he's got a shot that he can get away. You got Colin Slattery. Colin Slattery Saturday night won that game for Stratford.
He had 2 goals.
Oh, and the 2 goals he had, that sneaky wrist shot that
Lights
kid
out.
has, oh my
Yeah,
God.
lights out.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen a kid that can turn around and fire that puck and put it where he wants. And the goalie had no chance,
Yeah.
you know.
I didn't put 2 and 2 together. I was working a day shift last month down at the Almond, and these 2 warriors come to the door, and they rap on the door. It was a Friday morning, early Friday afternoon, and as it turns out, it was Slattery and one other player, and I just
Probably
love it.
Carter.
Yeah, they were coming down to get their skates,
Yep.
and they were going out. But I remember the days, like my first 18 years with the city was down at the Almond. And I remember always opening up the room and guys that, were done high school early or not even going to school and work, and they would just want to go out and shoot the puck. And I just love that.
He's a Stratford boy.
Exactly.
He's one hell of a ball player.
Yeah.
And
Who's this? Sorry, Slattery?
Colin Slattery.
Yeah.
He's one hell of a ball player.
Yeah.
If Stratford can keep him.
Sean Slattery.
Yeah. Sean Slattery's his
Yeah.
dad.
Yeah.
So if Stratford can keep him in town, he's gonna be one heck of a
Absolutely.
junior B player.
Yeah.
But like Saturday night, he was lights out. The funniest, the little fun with Saturday night Stratford, where they get the win, the empty net goal. Quinn Kiffer's coming down with the puck, and Kolos is in the middle, and Quinn puts it in the net. And after the game, he said, Cole says he couldn't even give me the puck so I can get a point. And I said, well, the way you're playing right now, maybe he did the right thing. So they at first they credited Louis with a point, so we were joking about that, but it got taken away after. So he still sits at 97.
I loved
Okay.
it. I loved it how McDougall bounced back after Friday night, and you're going to run into that, but I love his mental toughness. He bounced back, stops 18 of 19 Saturday night versus Strathroy, big 3-1 win.
Yep.
Love it.
So the Friday night game, he had gone into the room after the game and told the guys it was on him. It was put that game on him. Well, then Nick come in and he took the blame for it for the late trade, and he's like, okay, you can have it.
Yeah.
yeah.
So Saturday night I talked to Doogie and I said, what do you want me to say when I talk about last night's game? He goes, oh, did we play last night?
Yeah.
So
I love
he had
it.
already packaged
I
it
love
up and
that
got rid
about
of
him.
it, right?
Yeah. That's the
And
that's
so-
the key to having that 20-year-old goaltender,
Right.
right? And I think a lot of GOJHL teams would love to have a veteran goalie come down the stretch. And
Well,
they're in good shape there. We'll
And
be all
so,
right.
like, talking about that, it makes sense because in October when Stratford played in St. Mary's, and I talked about it on a previous podcast, where McDougall had let in a goal. It wasn't a terrible goal, but he let one in. Guys were on their way to pat him on the pads like they always do, like, hey, buddy, don't worry about it. We're going to get it back. He put his arm out as if to say, look, that was on me. I'm good. And he was. Like, he played well. They ended up losing the game. But I loved it about him is that, hey, guys, I don't need, any pep talks. I know that, I would love to have that one back. And I love his competitiveness. And
That's Chester's goal, neighbor.
That's right.
So
love it.
We've done a lot about the Warriors, which is fantastic. Drove in from St. Mary's.
St. Mary's
Let us know.
St.
what
Mary's
happened.
is all in Chester.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the
Let us know.
Lincolns, anybody that's been talking to me for the last month, Jeff knows every time I've been for a haircut. And at home, me and Rat get into it. We've been waiting for 3 or 4 weeks for something to happen. We knew we were getting thin on the back end, and we lost Barchi to the Saginaw Spirit. A couple of our D spent a lot of time in the penalty box, and some games get pretty thin back there. So
Okay.
we were waiting for the ball to drop. We got 3 good defensemen come in. Kid from Alberta, looks like he's going to be a dandy. He's got great speed, not afraid to carry the puck. First shift with the Lincolns, he goes out and he almost goes end to end. The whole crowd was like, okay, who's this guy? He's wearing Barchi's shirt, and he kind of skates like Barchi, and he looks like he's got that offensive mind as well as just a good skater. And then the other defenseman, oh Lord,
You've got Gedney,
Yeah.
Roach, and McPherson.
McPherson's one that I really like. Gedney hasn't played yet. Roach played both games on the weekend. Just a stay-at-home, smart defenseman, solid. He's not going to hurt. It just gives us that depth that we've been missing.
Right.
And then the big thing too, obviously from what I understand, we got the best player available.
Yes.
Lincoln Moore.
Yeah.
Out of
Lincoln
St.
Moore,
Thomas.
St. Thomas. You guys got 3 stars like we did.
And I will say, congrats. Like,
Well,
fantastic.
yeah, no,
Fantastic.
that's what you want, right?
You guys are setting, the standard high, and I get it. Like you guys, ended up going all the way to the finals last year, and Listowel had a great team, and I love it that you guys are like, we're gonna do whatever we got to do. And,
Reload.
No, they were.
It's basically just retool.
Or retool.
You know,
Reload.
and so you guys have pushed your chips all in.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well,
I love it.
If you
right?
look at
Like
St. Mary's lineup, they had no choice but to go all in, really.
You did, yeah. You
Because
can't.
because you're a veteran-laden team.
right.
Yeah.
So there is no let's wait for next year.
And Chester,
Yeah.
like your studs
Yeah.
are howling.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
How good they are.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, they are. And you got to remember, those guys like Lee, Spagnola, there's about half a dozen of them that were on the ice 2 years ago
Yeah.
when they lost the West Final to Leamington before
Okay.
they beat Stratford. They had to sit through that. Last year they had to sit through Listowel beating it. Like, they're ready. And
Yes.
if you don't go for it now,
Well,
I'm very happy that they made these decisions and they went
Yeah.
for it. They had to do it because next year
Who knows?
you're going to have 7 or 8 players gone that have been there for 3 or 4 years. It's
right.
a totally different
That's
team.
tough to replace.
It is.
So,
It is.
and interesting you say that. We've had Clarkie in here 2 years in a row with 14 rookies this year.
Yeah.
The good news is when you do have to do that, it changes because it's a lot different than it used to be.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get people from different town centers, stuff like that. But I want to see you guys do
Well,
some stuff.
You know, they should be okay. The 2 goalies are young, but they're playing unbelievable. They're 1-2 in the league. They're like
57 goals
Yeah,
against.
like-
Did I see?
I mean the
Yeah.
whole when this
55.
Yeah.
55
Unbelievable.
goals.
yeah
That's
when
it.
this all started back in September, October, it was like, well, we're going to need a veteran goalie. We're going to need a veteran goalie if we really want to be serious about doing this. But we're at the point now where it's like you can't. These 2 kids are just awesome.
They're playing
They're
so
just playing
well, that
and you got that. How lucky are you you can just rotate them still?
right.
They've rotated them almost the whole season. I'm sure they'll go with one to start the playoffs. And if
Yes.
it doesn't go well, guess what? You grab the other one who's got
Right.
a 1.67 goals against. Have
Right.
at her, kid. But, it's
Like
a pretty good problem to have.
Well, you guys are the hottest team in the league. In the past 10, you're 8-1-1. Like you guys, had a bit of a lull there, back in like November,
Yeah,
December. But now you guys seem like you've found your rhythm again, and
We're scoring.
you're scoring.
Like the last 6-7 games, we've averaged over 6, I think 5 or 6 goals a game, which we weren't doing that. Even in that first run when we were 11-0, 12-0, 13-0, there was games where we were winning 3-1 and 4-2. Like the last 7 or 8 have been 6s and 7s, and
Right.
it's just like they're getting the depth now. I mean, the big line's just on fire.
You're right.
Lee, Spagnola, Vertman are on fire.
Yep.
You add in, you got that secondary scorer coming now from Hodgkinson, and you got Bidgood playing
I
well.
like Hodgkinson.
Cornfield's putting a few pucks in the net. There's
I just like hearing that name.
Cornfield. Oh, it's he's. But and then this Lincoln Moore hasn't even scored yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. You got 3 helpers last night. Once he figures it out.
So people
look out.
don't want to know what St. Mary's paid to get
No,
him.
we're not going to talk about it.
No, but I just love it how a team has a team though. You've hit the nail on the head, Chester. Where now the time is now.
Yeah.
And it's I just hope for selfish reasons it's Stratford St. Mary's.
Yeah,
And may the
that'd be
best team.
I
win,
think
right?
everybody hopes for selfish reasons.
Honestly, and I hate to put pressure on your goalies, our goalie. That's what it's going to come down to. Whoever
Probably.
can really dial in, that's usually the turning point.
The thing is, right now though, the Western Conference is such a muddled mess.
Right.
It is you got Montreal, you got St. Mary's clear of 6 points
mind,
clear. Yeah, 6
Montreal's
points
on his
clear.
mind.
And then from 2nd to 7th is 2 points.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
And then you
London,
got 2 teams
Stratford,
tied
Adam.
for 7th and 8th. And then you got Sarnia, who dismantled everything, blew everything up.
Yeah.
And now they're charging they're making everybody play hard against them, and they're winning games.
Yeah, I think, unfortunately for Sarnia, I think they're too far back because the teams ahead of them are still good, and they're still going to win 50% of their games, and Sarnia's just not good. They're going to have to go almost undefeated to crawl in.
Strathroy picked up a lot of good players.
They did, and I don't know. They've struggled a little bit.
And
The
that was the
teams-
hardest thing Saturday night was all the shirts with no name badges on them.
Yeah.
Makes your
I
job
can
tough.
imagine.
Looking at the number, I go, that's not the guy's number.
Number 27. Number 27.
I go,
The teams that look like, they don't mind playing run and gun, London, they got 134 goals. Chatham, 149. And then you got Elmira in 7th, which sounds, seventh place? Yeah, they're only like 2 points out of second.
but then they have the two leading scorers in the GOJHL.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like
So
Ethan Martin
it's-
puts up points every year.
Like, luckily for Stratford, they're not up there in the top goals, but they're right there for the goals against.
Right where they need to be.
They
They're
are.
second best goals against, which is
Second best.
incredible for a team
St.
with that many
Mary's
young
number
guys.
one. Yep.
That many young guys. That's,
With all the
that's pretty awesome.
and that's what we had talked about. You
good
had mentioned
coaching.
before. Like, that is just great scouting
And good
getting
coaching.
good
Yeah.
coaching. Like
100%.
Willie,
It's a solid defense Stratford has this year. It's a
Yes.
steady defense.
Yes.
Like the top pairing of Curtin and Campbell. Like you would think if you were just somebody that walked in the arena and watched the first game, you'd say, "Oh, those kids played together for years." They met in September, August, right?
like Stratford does
100%.
not want to get into a run and gun with you guys.
probably not.
They want to
Slow it
keep
down.
it slow,
Yeah.
frustrate Spags and all
Yeah.
those guys,
Oh, yeah.
and then wait for their opportunities.
Like,
right?
Saturday night is a measuring stick for Stratford.
It is.
as where they sit with St. Mary's as St. Mary's is because they're your final rosters pretty much.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a barn burner.
It really is.
Well said.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is whoever loses, it's 1 in 52,
Yeah.
Yeah, because
right?
you're really
I know what you're saying about the measuring sticks, but if you lose, whatever team loses, you're not going to go, we're screwed in the playoffs.
the only thing St. Mary's does not want to see the rest of the year is 3-point games. Because they do not help anybody.
No.
They just muddle everything up even more.
Yeah. I think St. Mary's is really wanting to send a message though Saturday night.
100.
From what happened at the Almond there
couldn't agree
before
more.
Christmas,
Right.
I think St. Mary's realizes that they let that one get away from them.
Yep.
And maybe Stratford, this is them talking. You got to remember, I'm a Stratford guy. I grew up.
Are you?
Yeah.
I don't believe you, Chase. You used to be.
I grew up as a Cully fan, and I've transported over to St. Mary's, so I still have a soft spot, obviously, for Stratford, and I want them to be the second best team in the league forever. But
Right. Fair.
I think there is a message that St. Mary's wants to send to them on
100.
Saturday night.
I hope you're right.
And-
Bring it on.
and
The funny thing is, last time they played, we came off a game with the Cyclones the night before. The exact same thing happens this weekend.
Yeah.
You guys play
Waterloo
Friday
Waterloo.
night. We have Listowel Friday night. Again, we got that same hangover for both
Right.
teams again.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting.
The funniest text I got from Brian Hawley this weekend, Waterloo was in St. Mary's, right?
Yeah.
He said Bork hit Spagnola so hard. Spagnola went from the red line to
did.
the goal net. And like Bork for Kitchener Waterloo, he's a big boy.
Spags gets just like that every game. He gets back up
Yep.
and he scores 2 goals and get 3 helpers and say,
And
see ya.
forget about it.
Yeah, forget about it.
Right.
But-
I love it.
Not identifying any culture.
Junior B
Folks-
hockey in Perth County is alive and well.
Oh my God! Like the league couldn't have, drawn it up any better than to have the tightness in
and
the
Les,
league.
when you posted that this morning about the race and all that, just the comments we have,
Yeah.
the people who are paying attention and the people who want to see all this stuff. You got Mike Carroll, who's older and been watching the league for literally 30 years. He goes, I've never seen it like this.
Not
This
in-
is the
not
beauty
in
of it.
January.
we've never seen
not this late.
Yeah, but we've
No.
never seen this because in the old Midwest you had 4 top teams and you had 4
Yep.
bottom teams.
Right.
And it was the same every year after
Yeah.
year
Yes.
after year. In the Western Conference right now, it is the closest it's ever been.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
The Eastern Conference is no slouch.
No.
There was a huge upset on the weekend in the Eastern Conference.
Was St. Catharines?
Brantford Titans
Yeah, beat Air.
beat
That's
Air
right.
Centennials
Oh, wow.
on the weekend. So that's 8th beating 2nd.
Jeez.
And it was good. Also in the East, there was a golie fight on the weekend.
Oh, yes, we posted that
The
one.
Italian announcer.
Mamma
Oh, mamma
mia!
mia!
That was funny.
I don't
That
think
was
he knew
good.
much about the hockey game, but that was a great fight.
That was good.
Well,
Holy
let's-
smoke.
boys, we could keep going on, but
Oh, we
my
could.
goodness, like I know
can't wait.
I know
I'm-
we say it
yeah.
Saturday night. If you're not busy, you should be in St. Mary's
And
for
early.
The Warrior, yeah, early because they've got the chicken dinner going on.
If you have
the doors,
tickets.
the doors open at the PRC hall at 4:30. Meal served 5 to 7.
It's sold out.
Sold out.
Yeah, but I'm just saying though that for the people that have tickets,
And then
that
the
are
game
going
the game
there.
after is guaranteed. No matter what the score is, it's going to be one heck of a
It's
game.
gonna
'cause
be great.
It's meeting number 4, the Battle Highway 7.
Yep.
And that's if these kids played with each other, against each other, and they know what this is about. They know
Yeah.
what this rivalry is about. These kids, when I talk to them, they know what
Is
this
it
rivalry
fair to
is.
say, and I maybe completely out of context, is this a game 7 Saturday night?
It
In the regular
feels like
season.
it.
It'll have
in
that
the regular
it
season.
feels like
It'll have that feeling.
The atmosphere will be there.
These
yeah.
these kids are not shy at knowing that
I'm not
they
saying
don't like.
I'm not
they
trying to
don't-
sell it. What I'm saying
St. Mary's
is,
wants to beat Stratford. Stratford wants to beat St.
Yeah,
Mary's.
100.
So that's what I'm saying.
100.
It's
Game
a geography. It's a geography that's not going to go away, and it's the
Mr.
best thing
Pox
this
in it,
league ever
Juliet
did.
did.
It's bragging rights, and no matter who wins or loses Saturday night, it's not going to change their goals and
Do you know what I
trajectory.
love? It's not St. Mary's at 1 and Stratford at 8 or vice versa.
Right.
Yeah.
Two competitive teams that want to go at it. And
Within
you watch
arm's
it.
reach.
You watch it.
I will. I will be watching it.
It's
I know,
going to
but
be
you
good.
watch it. If Stratford wins, we need a
I'll meet you in the parking lot after the game.
we'll see. Escort.
Just make sure. Hey, it's
Classic.
going to probably be a $2,000 50-50.
It will be. Yeah, we've been well over 1,000 all year. Like it's crazy.
in October when
Even-
Stratford was there.
Well,
it was
even
upwards
our
of
regular
2.
Friday nights where you have 1,700 people there, it's always well over 1,000.
Yeah.
It's
They get good crowds, and the nice thing that this game is in St. Mary's too, which is going to make it feel like it's even more
Sure,
packed, right?
sure.
Just to have 12 or 1,300 in there, there's going to be no room. It's
Yeah,
going to
the
be awesome.
StubHub they're selling for 400 or 500. So hey, if you can get tickets, folks, good luck.
I promised Holly I'd bring him a headset this time because the last time we were in St. Mary's, they didn't have a headset. He couldn't hear anything we were
Right.
saying
Yeah.
because it was so
Take that
loud in
with
that
you
building.
tonight.
Oh
It
yeah.
was so loud in that
Well, because
building.
you guys are right in with the fans, like
Yeah.
so
Oh,
it's so
Right up on
noisy.
top of them.
Yeah.
It's
And
just-
Spencer.
Yeah, Spencer's down from us, and Spencer's he's such a great guy.
Yes.
He does a great job
He
on the
does.
St. Mary's broadcast.
He does both. He does
Yeah.
color and play-by-play.
yeah,
Like that's fantastic.
He's
Ask him how his night in Chatham was last night.
Oh,
yeah,
geez.
yeah. Just ask him about that. and
It was
I've
just
seen it, so I understand
horrible.
exactly what he was going through.
It's a different whole different
That's-
world down there in
It's a
Chatham.
place
Oh,
I don't.
yes.
I don't want to go there in the playoffs. Honestly,
Oh,
That
neither
is-
do we.
That is
Yeah.
honestly, like the two teams that obviously you guys are the front runners, but Chatham is a team I would not want to run into. They
Absolutely
can score,
not.
and they got a goalie that could win a series by
And they're big.
himself, right?
and they're big.
So,
Yeah.
and you got Brendan Veazey, dealing with them on the power play.
Well, that's
so.
scary.
And all I can say is this Western Conference is going to be like this for the next month and a half, and that's
Love
all
it.
you're going to hear is
Buckle
next
up.
month and a half is about how tight
Put on
this
your
Western
seatbelt.
Conference
Buckle
is.
up.
Yeah. Like I said, put on your seatbelt, buckle
Yes.
up, and hold on, because that's what I'm doing in half these
Yes.
games.
As Billy Red Lions would say, don't you dare miss it.
Chester, thanks so much for
Yes.
having us.
Oh, thanks for
Yeah.
having me again.
We got to have you back on for our playoff preview.
Yeah.
Oh, we
well,
will.
Yeah,
Oh, we
we'll,
Yes.
once we get into March there, we'll get the little man maybe too. And
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
he's,
that'd be great.
He's pretty
Redster.
fired up.
Oh, yeah.
so-
Redster.
Yeah, that was
Get red all wound up.
Yeah.
Oh, he's ready to go.
right. So
Yeah.
Wait till
awesome,
Lincoln
Chester.
Moore scores that first goal. That air horde's just going to be going. Oh my goodness.
Oh my.
Next week we're
oh
gonna-
my.
Next week we're gonna probably have some announcements of what's happening in February, and I'm gonna tell you the first 2 shows in February.
It's
Ouch!
It's
I'm
huge.
excited.
The one we can talk about, the reveal show on
Yeah,
the
so
10th.
February 10th, we're going to reveal the top 50 players of all time for the Colton Warriors on the Armchair Chirpers.
Yes.
Jason Clark and John Kastner are going to join us.
Yeah.
Um,
Looking forward to
From-
so we will
from-
from the Directors Lounge, the Crow Nest, whatever you want to call it,
Ooh.
at the
Taylor
Almond
Windows?
Arena live.
Yep.
And the Warriors will be practicing at some point during our broadcast.
Yes.
We get together Wednesday night just so people know that we're down to 81.
Wow.
We get together
That's
Wednesday
a tough
night.
flip. Les is involved.
Yes.
We're Jeff and I aren't involved in this.
We're
so-
just showing up
right.
for the showcase.
We're
Give us the list.
We're getting together. We're getting together Wednesday night to try and whittle it down to 50, and then we're probably going to have a notable list of people that might have been on but didn't make it.
Clark
You guys-
Donatelli.
Well, I'm just gonna say that on the show before that, on
Yep.
February 3rd, we've got 3 ex-Junior B players coming on, folks. We won't reveal who they
And
are.
I can guarantee you 2 of them are on there for sure.
right.
100%.
And possible NHL alumni.
Possible, yeah.
Nice,
we don't
folks,
want to.
nice.
We don't want to reveal
Nope.
too much.
No. Of course
no.
But hey,
It
we're looking forward
That February
to it.
3rd show could be a huge show if everything falls into place.
It is.
Yikes.
It's going to be good. I've thrown some seeds out last night
Yeah.
to the guys, and
I was talking to Colin the other day, and
Yeah.
Whoa,
Yeah.
Don't give names away.
What's the matter with you?
it's all good.
You gotta shut her down, Les.
Jesus
Colin
Christ.
Slattery.
Yep. Talking to Colin Slattery the other day, and I said, Colin, you got to get a hold of this February 3rd show.
Crazy. Jeez. Here we go.
We'll just leave it at that one.
Yes.
All right.
All
Take
right,
us
folks.
home, Les.
It's okay not to be okay. Just start the conversation.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.
See ya.
Thanks, Chester.
Thanks, guys.
Twisted muse always gets my shaking